Boom, jump scare. Oh my god, it's me, the fat man that runs the Review to Death channel, here in the flesh. I can't believe it. That's right, we're here today to do a King of the Hill character tier list thing, which was originally made in 2019, but it was perfected this year by moi, because originally this whole thing only had 49 images, and I actually went through and added in a whole bunch more, because we were missing a ton of people. We didn't have the J-9 originally, we didn't have Llama, we didn't have Jerry Popper and Chip Block, just a bunch of people were missing. We didn't have Tilly or Nancy or Chuck Mangione. I don't know how you make a King of the Hill tier list leaving those people off, but they did it. The Mad Men did it, and then another Mad Men came in here and made it all better. And we're just going to go through and talk about where I'd put them on this varying ranking list. So we're going to start off with Best of the Best, which is basically like, I can't even imagine the show without them. These are the greatest characters of all time. It would be a different show without them, so I'm going to put them up there. We got amazing, just good characters, like them a bunch. We got okay, meh, bad characters, and then take them out of the show. It would be a better sort of series if they didn't have these characters in there. If you like the characters that I'm going to put in, take them out of the show, then I want to take you out of my audience. You need to get out of here. So it'll be a very sort of antagonistic ranking, which is how I think all rankings should get. We should all be extremely mad that our favorite characters aren't put in amazing and are just put in okay, or vice versa. So yeah, let's get a lot of emotions. I'm feeling so many things in this whole thing already, and nobody's even in the tiers yet. So let's start off with, oh God, why did I choose this picture? I put in this picture for some reason. I could have done the one where Debbie Grund is like bashing on the window of Hank's truck, but this one called me for some reason. So Debbie Grund is barely a character before her two-part episode Spotlight, and even in that sort of condition or context, she's really only in the first part of the two-part episode. She's in Hanky Panky and then basically dead. Spoiler alert, oh my goodness, for high anxiety. She croaks very loudly with a shotgun, and a scattergun, that is, and she doesn't have a lot to her. She's just sort of this Buckle Bunny who runs around Strickland Propane. I'll give some props to her for sucking it up and actually sharing Buck Strickland's bed, which could not have been very pleasant for her, I imagine. So I guess I gotta respect the hustle. She's got kind of that Anna Nicole Smith thing going on, except like Anna Nicole Smith was this to like the nth degree. So she's got a little bit more nuance to her, I would say. Debbie can sort of sense where the wind is blowing. So when Buck loses his usefulness, she starts going after Hank, and in that way, she's a very opportunistic, I would say unpleasant character, but I actually like how she is used as an antagonist, as a bad guy, as someone who puts Hank in this extremely uncomfortable position, and it is her sort of role as the dead body in the second part that is so interesting and compelling. If we didn't have Debbie Grund as this like awful person who then dies, and we kind of have to figure out how we feel about that, then I think that, I don't know, she wouldn't, if she didn't have the two-parter thing, then she would be in a bad character, maybe even take her out of the show, but I actually think she is an amazing villain. I really like her. She feels extremely intimidating. She's conniving. She knows how to get what she wants, but she's also really dumb. She doesn't think things through very well, as we clearly got to see, where she would not let go of that fast food, and it was her undoing. Maybe if she'd gotten shot in the butt, she would have survived, because that thing looks bulletproof, baby, but unfortunately not. So I don't know, Debbie, you might rest in peace, but you will also rest in the amazing tier, so good for you. Now, quite the whiplash here, going from a semi-one-off character to Joseph, who is I would say like a secondary main character. He doesn't get too much going. And by the way, this will be a composite discussion of all of their appearances, so I can't just say, oh, Joseph had one good episode where he was going to shoot the panda and then John Redcorn stopped him. We're going to think about everything that he does, and unfortunately, he falls into that very sort of like uncomfortable, like boring trope, I would say, of just the creepy teenager who is all just like, oh, you could see her boobs, like, oh my gosh. And I think that I don't get a lot of enjoyment out of that type of character. There's not a bunch of reflection of him. God, we need to get more characters in here so Debbie Grund's stupid butt stops looking at me. I like how I'm complaining so much about Joseph being this creepy, over-sexualized guy, but I'm doing the same thing. Goodness. Ugh. At least I have the wherewithal to apologize for it. Ugh, God. I think if he had stayed the way he was before, where he's just sort of like Bobby's rambunctious friend who kind of pushes him out of his comfort zone. He gets him to do other things. He's a little athletic. He does the football thing and then the soccer thing in the Coach Sowers episode. But then once he becomes this like taller version of Joseph, he loses a lot of his sauce and he gets a different kind of flavor to him, and I don't know if I like it. So I'm going to put him in meh because he's just sort of an average teenage character in the show, and I don't think he ever like gets any better. I think he actually does get better in the reboot. I've seen a little bit more nuance from him there, but I haven't seen enough of the reboot to actually like speak about whether he gets like significantly better. I haven't watched all the reboot yet, so I'm not really going to talk about those portrayals of those characters that show up there. This is just talking about the OG series, and I think no one would be upset if Joseph's just put in meh. He's nobody's favorite character. He's not my favorite character by any stretch of the imagination, and that's really the only thing that really criteria that matters here is whether I like him. So, and I don't. So there he goes. Oh my God. Flashbang. It's Dale Gribble. How can you not put Dale in anything other than best of the best? Now, I will say, not every main character is going to go up here. A lot of them will, but I actually do think some of the cast goes in either just amazing or okay. Maybe even one just goes in meh, but Dale is not one of them. He is so good. Unfortunately, he does have one of my most like hated episodes, which is the basket weaving one. I've heard some people are okay with it, but I just find him so unbelievably boring and tiresome, and just, I don't know, he lost some of his magic in season 12 and 13. I don't really care for how they choose to use Dale there. The one where he gets overly patriotic is pretty fun. That's a nice subversion of expectations and gives him a new sort of role to be in. But he really carries like the golden age of King of the Hill. He is at his strongest, I think, in like seasons 2 to 8. He's not too interesting in season 1. If he was like just in the pure like conspiracy theorist sort of guy, he'd probably go in okay. But there's so much going on with him, with his relationship with Nancy, his antagonism towards Hank, his weird sort of friend-enemy thing he's going on with Bill, where he uses Bill a lot, but he'll also like genuinely appreciate all of Bill's efforts. He makes fun of Bill, but in ways that are sometimes constructive, sometimes not. And he's got the best meme of the whole show by far. Pocket Sand is the best. I don't care what anybody says about "that's my purse, I don't know you." Pocket Sand is like this beautiful censoring effort that we don't even recognize as a censorship thing, where normally you would expect Dale to whip out a gun and shoot the guy who's like trying to like rip the briefcase away from him at that bus depot thing during the Mr. Big episode, but he doesn't. He doesn't bring out a gun or a taser or a knife. He has to incapacitate that guy and get him off his back in a way that isn't overly violent, because that would really sort of like escalate the mood of the episode and make it far more serious. Like, oh my gosh, like Dale just stabbed somebody. Whoa, we can't just keep going on this Mr. Big story if we now have to deal with the fallout of Dale literally like causing intense bodily harm to somebody. So they came up with Pocket Sand, and that's the like perfect, like, oh, it's in my eyes, but it's not just pepper spray. It's creative. He says it like it's a Pokemon attack. He says like, or like a Digimon attack even. Digimon are the people who would go like, Arc Cannon Blast, you know, or hey-ya, like Big Angel Fist. God, Digimon's so good. I should really rank all the Digimon. That'd be interesting. Debbie Grund could almost be a Digimon. Put her in Angelwoman's outfit, and we've got a list. Everything comes back to stupid Debbie's butt. It's got a gravitational pull. I'm sorry. But Dale rises above all that. He does not go with the Pigeon God. Interestingly enough, Pigeon God is not on here. I should have put her on here. She'd probably be an amazing character, too, because she serves as this, like, like really good temptress for Dale. She's basically his Mindy Simmons from The Simpsons, where Homer was tempted to cheat on Marge by having literally the perfect woman for him show up and tempt him away from Marge, but he resisted that and showed that his love for Marge, and in Dale's case his love for Nancy, is his like main character defining trait. So in that way, Dale's just a good guy. He's a horrible pain in the butt to be married to. I'm sure he blows all of your money. He's got the silver medal in sexual gymnastics, and he's a gold medalist in my heart, I'm sure. So yeah, he goes in best of the best. Okay, Ladybird, you are a semi-main character, and I'm gonna put you in bad. You are a bad dog, not because like you're like you do something that upsets me, but because you don't do anything. You are somebody who has things happen around them. This is an extremely basic character who, like any sort of dog figure, could fit into this role, and in that way there is no character here. Ladybird is a prop. The closest you can say to her having any sort of agency is during the dog dancing episode, I guess. But the bandit episode, she's just like, oh, we're worried that she's got rabies. Or in the 100th episode, actually, where Hank builds the doghouse for Bobby, she just won't go in, and then we get Bobby in. So a lot of the time, she's more of a plot hindrance or a plot element. But just by her very nature of being a dog, she doesn't do anything. And I cannot acknowledge or accept or love a character who does nothing. I mean, yes, you could say she gets like that really cute dog buff, but pretty much any dog would get that and could be put in okay or amazing. So I'm going to put her in bad character. That is going to make things extremely difficult for the the validity and the respect of this list. I understand, but I mean, come on, we have to accept that Ladybird has no personality whatsoever. She's just, her very nature is defined by her being old and tired. So, and the one time where she's more energetic and actually does things like big and bombastically, it's when she's going deaf and she starts biting people, and in that way she's more of a like negative force in the plot, and I think that's kind of unpleasant, and I don't like having this like dog who bites. Like, she really gives it to Hank. It's horrible seeing that scene happen, and it's just uncomfortable. And so that's really the gamut of my emotions. I range from, oh, just worried about Ladybird as an object almost, to, oh, when she does start doing things, it's not comfortable for me. So she's going in bad characters. Not take her out of the show. I think she serves an important role in the stories. But again, this is more of a personality sort of thing and a usage, and I think that her usage is extremely basic. Speaking of which, oh my goodness, Dee Hill. Dee Hill, I'm just gonna put her in okay for right now, but I'll probably move her up or down as I talk my way through it. Dee Hill gets virtually nothing to her. She has no personality aside from being like subservient to Cotton, and it really makes me sad because she's implied to be a pretty smart person. Hank says that she's a licensed optometrical assistant, so she's got a brain underneath all those boobs. And by the way, it's extremely funny to me that Cotton says that he got both lefties for her breast implants, but I'm pretty sure that that's not a thing. I think either one could be put in either way, because they're like gel inserts, you know. It's not it's not even like a gel insert for your shoes or something where you put it in and it's like, oh, this is confined to your left foot and this is confined to your right foot. It doesn't matter. It's just sacks. There is no left or right sack. I'm sorry. So somebody told some BS, some sidewinder stuff to Cotton, and probably like said, oh, we're getting you a good deal because they're both lefties, but no. See, I'm talking more about Dee Dee's frickin' breast implants than I am her, because she has nothing. She has nothing in the old coconut. Seemingly, the most interesting thing about her is, like, she goes through like a weird postpartum depression thing after GH is born, but that's not explored at all. I don't understand why they would introduce that sort of thing and then just hand wave it away and say, like, who cares? Dee Dee will get over it. I think they could have really expanded upon her emotional state, but she unfortunately gets completely overwhelmed by Cotton. He just blows up every scene that he's in, and that leaves very little room for Dee Dee herself. She's not even like a good, like sexy figure, I would say. Like, she's not like Debbie, where you can kind of get this like really sensual vibe from her. I just feel really bad for Dee Dee. She feels like someone who's in a borderline abusive relationship, and it disturbs me, really, how she has so little agency and is so miserable in her life, especially when her and Cotton move to the veterans home, where they lose the house in Houston and now they have to live in like an attic, and it's just, she's got the worst frickin' life, and I am so glad that she eventually does a quiet divorce of Cotton and moves on with her life. She gets a GH and her out of that situation and marries like a pro wrestler or something. So I'm glad that she eventually stood up for herself. I just wish we had gotten to see it, and we don't, which is also true of Tilly, where we have no idea how or why or whatever, why they broke up, or how Tilly eventually served papers to Cotton and got him to sign divorce stuff. It's almost like the show doesn't want to show Cotton in a weak light, so these women just walk out the door and he doesn't care, or seemingly doesn't care. But I care. I wanted to like Debbie, or not Debbie. God damn it. I'm putting, you know what? You're going to take him out of the show for right now. I'll put you back up, but I cannot keep looking at you. I'm putting Dee Dee in Tilly, Dee Dee. Sort of interesting LY sort of sounds. Dee Dee, Tilly. Interesting sort of similarities there, phonetically anyway. She's going in okay. Speaking of her better half, as in he better have dinner on the table, Cotton Hill is going up there with Dale. I'm not going to rank them individually, like, oh, he's the top of best, or whatever. I'll do that at the end of the video, but for right now, I'll just do it sort of like, there you go. Cotton is a sexual Tyrannosaurus Rex. He's a Godzilla. He is a humongous figure in the show, and he just dominates everything that he's in. Even in the episode where Hank goes blind after seeing Gary and Gary! Oh my god, Gary is not on here. No! Gary would be an S tier. I love Gary so much. He's my best of the best. But in the episode where Hank goes blind after seeing Gary's gyrating butt, they go to Cotton's house, and Cotton just, again, takes over the whole scene, and he's like, oh, that odometer's done, like, turned over, or, one man's trash is another man's treasure, or he just says horrible things all the time. His interactions with Jimmy Carter alone are so good, and yes, by the way, Jimmy is on here. Gimme Jimmy. Where is he? Where is he? Jimmy McGill. I'm thinking too much about Better Call Saul. Is he on here? No, I should have. Oh, there he is. I was like, I knew I had the picture of him. There we go. Okay, I feel better. Oh, I feel better knowing Jimmy from the Bone Temple is in this list. How's that, you know? Cotton, though, Cotton just gets to stay up at the top because he's on a big horse, so he's above everybody else. Emily! Emily the hall monitor. I don't like how much you look like Debbie. Oh. You look like Debbie's really pissed off younger sister or her cousin or something. Like, oh yeah, there's, you know what? That's my new headcanon. That what's her face? Emily is Debbie's like niece or cousin or something. Or younger sister, because we know nothing about Emily's home life, and she has a very just sort of dowered, sad demeanor where she's not sad. She's grim. She's almost like a Mandy from Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy sort of person, where she just is this authoritarian, goose-stepping girl who just, hey, get out of my halls. If you're causing trouble, then you're gonna get the hammer. You know, she's gonna bring it down. Maybe that's what happened. Debbie didn't actually get killed by herself. Emily took her out because she was running through the halls trying to get to Buck Strickland or something. Oh, no. See, that's the thing, is Emily has no personality, no backstory. I don't care about her at all. She's got, like, the most minor of gimmicks, and for that reason, I'm going to say take her out of the show, because I wouldn't know even if she was taken out of the show. I don't care about Emily. She is, she looks so mad. She is always pissed off. I can respect a girl who is, like, angry and has this very strong personality, and she does have this aura of intimidation behind her, but I wish that had been fleshed out a little bit more, and so for that reason, I'm going to say, because you half-assed her characterization, I'm going to say take her out, and take her and Debbie out of the show. You know what? I'm putting you back up in amazing. There we go. So, hey, this is actually turning out pretty even here. Very good. Ooh, Roger Sack. Buddha Sack himself. I really, really like Buddha Sack, and I wish that he had been in the show more often. I wish that they had gotten Phil LaMarr to come in and voice him, because I know Chris Rock is very pricey, and he was probably busy with a bunch of other projects, being in, like, Kevin Hart movies, or not Kevin Hart, what's the name? Kevin James movies, with all the Adam Sandler crew. Too many Kevins. Is there a Kevin in King of the Hill? There's a Kevin in Steven Universe, which that character would go right at the bottom of the list. No, there's no Kevin. Buddha Sack, I think if they had sprung to have Phil LaMarr come on and make him more of a regular face at Strickland Propane, I really would have loved that. I think he is a more interesting and nuanced character than someone like Joe Jack, who gets virtually nothing to do. I don't really like Joe Jack. Spoiler alert, there's Joe Jack right there. I'm gonna put Joe Jack and take him out of the show. Or rather, bad character. Yeah. Bad character with Ladybird. Joe Jack just... the most he ever does is smash car windows in the episode where they discover that Charlie Fortner, which I'm very depressed that I have brain cells dedicated to remembering that name. Charlie Fortner wears diapers, and Joe Jack comes out as a big baby saying, "You got any diapers on you?" And that's all he really has going on for him. Apparently he slept with, what's her name? Donna, which, there she is. Because in the MySpace episode, Donna posts a picture of a bunch of the Strickland crew, and it's Buck, Melinda, Joe Jack, and Hank, and Donna says, "Guess which 3 I've slept with?" And apparently Joe Jack's one of them, so good for you, I guess. I don't know. In that way, I'm a little envious of you, stupid Joe Jack. So you're down in bad characters because I'm envious of that. One interesting thing about you, the most interesting thing about you, is your proximity to Donna, who is a far more something character. We'll get there. But Roger Sack, I think he is somebody who could have introduced a little bit more nuance or awareness of the world into the series. He seems a little bit more plugged in with world events, and I think he could have been contrasted very well against Hank's very sort of insular attitude towards the world, and how Hank sort of doesn't see things in the sort of modern way that we do now. Roger has more of his, like, hand on the pulse of the current events, and I think they could have done something more with that, and they deliberately chose not to, and that kind of bums me out. But what we do get of Roger is pretty good. The traffic jam episode is very excellent. I really like a lot of the jokes that he gets to make there. Him giving Hank the racism test in the one with Bernie Mac's character, where he's like, "Come on, Hank, it's a subconscious thing. Go, go, go." That's good energy. I want more of that. Joe Jack doesn't have any of that energy whatsoever. Not even when that rabbit pees on his head during the magic trick thing. So Roger's really, really good. This is an interesting sort of layout of the Strickland crew right there. Okay, so now it's time to talk about Twig Boy. Oh, Twig Boy. You also showed up at Strickland Propane, interestingly enough, when Leon Petard was on there. And strangely, Leon's not on here, but that's okay. I don't think I don't even care about Leon all that much. He's dead in a dumpster somewhere, much like Debbie. Dumpster buddies, yeah. Hashtag dumpster buddies. Twig Boy, though, for what he is and what he does, where he is this evil figure. He's this, again, very, this sounds weird to say because it's a Mike Judge show, but he is a very Mike Judge character where he's this soft-spoken bureaucrat who's just going to make things miserable for the rest of us, and he's contemptible, he's not aware of anything in like a good way. He manipulates things to fit his own very biased viewpoint of how the neighborhood is. He's like, oh, it's hillbilly city over there. He doesn't talk to the baseball coach, and I think more importantly than anything, he does what a good villain should do, and that's get personal. You'll see this time and time again. I think if a villain, like, if I like the villain, it's that they get really close to our main characters and they do something that pushes those main characters into a situation where they kind of have to make a big decision. Debbie did that with Hank, where she tempted him with disgusting truck sex, which, I'm sorry, Hank's truck's not that big, so not big enough for that frickin' dump truck. My God. This whole video is just talking about that. Anyway, Twig Boy does not have a dump truck. He has like a shopping cart, but he has he can't haul anything in that thing. And so I'm going to say I'm putting Twig Boy in amazing because he is so memorable. I wish he had come back a third time, and I'm not talking about Luann's wedding either. I wish that he had sort of had a denouement, like a sort of book-ending thing where he gets to sort of come into Hank's corner and help him out. I really would have been interested in seeing a Twig Boy Hank team up where we get to see two other instances of him like, oh, trying to take Bobby away, and then he tries to hoist Leon Petard onto Hank's brow. And then for the conclusionary thing in sort of like the last season, I think it would have been great if Hank had some sort of legal problem that then Twig Boy has to come and help him out with. That would have shown a very memorable sort of character arc. If that had happened, I probably would put Twig Boy in best of the best. But for right now, for his somewhat lacking potential, I'm going to put him in amazing. It's very interesting to me that there's so many secondary characters in amazing, but that's where I land on Twig Boy. He's pretty good. Not likable. Again, I would not want to get a beer with this guy. I think he would drink some sort of horrible, like apple cider or hard, what is it? Mike's Hard Lemonade or Angry Apple Orchard or whatever. He would drink something that's not quite beer, but not quite a delicious, like, non-alcoholic beverage like a Roy Rogers or whatever. He would toe that line and be kind of annoying. He would go to one of those like millennial bar and grills where we do something a little different around here. We brew our own IPAs, and he gives me a headache, but in a good way. It's nice. So oh God, all my enthusiasm just went out the window. Tilly Hill, take her out of the show. I wish she had been in a grave for this whole thing. I wish that she had been buried in a snake pit and that we had never seen her before. I wish she had been this mysterious figure, this mother figure of Hank's that died way when he was younger, and he had to be raised solely by Cotton Hill, and she abandons Hank when he's a young lad to the whims and wiles of Cotton's whole thing. She is so selfish. She's not, like, if she was just a straight up villain, I think that would be very interesting if Hank actively did not like her. They kind of almost do that in the Port Aransas episode where her and her friends really torment Hank a lot, but they don't go all the way, and they still kind of make it feel like Hank is maybe being a little unreasonable. They give her that cute thing with the unicorn, even though she doesn't deserve it whatsoever. Tilly is just a terrible person in a way that I think is the worst thing ever, where we're supposed to like her, or at least I think we're supposed to feel semi-positive things for her. Like, she's kind of, I don't know, she gives Hank things to do, like, oh, take me to Port Aransas, or move all my furniture across the country or something, or it's not her furniture, it's like she inherited furniture from like a dead friend or something, I can't remember. She annoys Bobby. She has disgusting, nasty, butt-slamming doo-doo sex on the kitchen table, and she causes her son to go blind, and that's a superpower that I wouldn't wish on anybody. If you rip off your clothes, anybody who sees you goes blind. What a thing. So I have never liked Tilly. She's way down there for me. Just I don't like her one little bit. So on the flip side of things, Ann Richards, the last Democratic governor that the state of Texas has had ever since she left office. There has not been a Democratic governor since she left, and that's not because she was like a centrist or something. She was pretty ardently left-wing. It's just that she knew how to play the game and put forward this very strong presence. I think one of her more famous quotes is, what is it? It's like, I've had men like criticize my hair or something, and I'm getting criticisms from men who have way fewer hairs than me. I don't know. Here, I'll put up the quote right here on the screen. Bam, that's what she said. She's a total sass master. She was unapologetically left-leaning, and she just was so charming. I don't know how Texans feel about her, but me as a super progressive left-leaning communist, commifornian, as they say. I'm not actually communist. I'm just really left-leaning Californian guy. I like her. I'm putting her in best of the best. That'll be the top comment in the comments. He said he admitted to being a communist. I knew all those Californian people. Look at him. It's a Freudian slip. Oh, I knew it. Yes, if liking Ann Richards and putting her in best of the best makes me a communist, then I guess I'm a communist. Vote for Robert Parigi and his wonderful red tie. I hate that I have brain cells dedicated to the fictional, probably fictional, I don't know if he is, candidate that Luann was going to vote for, the communist guy. There you go. That's how you know it's true that I really am a communist, because I've got the name Robert Parigi in my head. In my head. I need water, please. Ugh. Ugh. Okay, drown myself like all good communists. Perfect. Whew. Okay, so why is Ann Richards way up there? Not just for political biases, but because she actually came on and voiced herself. Do you know how ridiculous that is? That they had a former sitting, what the? They had a former governor of Texas come on the show, and do her own thing. And they kind of gave her, like, I don't want to say like a gross role, but she is dating one of the least sort of attractive characters on the show. So good for her for being a super good sport and getting basically to be in a romantic liaison, dare I say, with Bill, who is kind of portrayed as like this disgusting pant-load character. And she makes it work. I really buy their chemistry. And it makes me sad to see Bill go back to Lenore, and I think Ann Richards handles it with wonderful grace. She knows her own worth. She's not willing to just let Bill treat her as this like side piece or not prioritize her in his life. And yet at the same time, when they are together, she takes him on this big like whirlwind tour of like these governors' dinners, and she brings him to these events. She's not so like upper class or like, oh, Bill, you're just a common guy. You can't come to these political things or whatever. She has a good attitude about her. She almost feels like a dignitary that you would see in Star Trek: The Next Generation. She feels just so natural to plug into the show. And I think that really speaks to not just the material, like the writing material that they gave her, but her performance is so like effortlessly casual and likable, and I can totally see why people would have voted for her back in the day. So good for you, Ann Richards. I think you are probably the best guest star that we ever had. If Jimmy Carter, where is he? If Jimmy Carter had actually like come on the show himself and we'd gotten a former president on King of the Hill, then I think Jimmy Carter would probably be the best of the best, because that would have been so amazing if that had happened. But I guess Ann Richards stepped up where old Jimmy couldn't. So good for her. What a good sport. What a good character. What a good story. I really like how she takes everything in stride. Hank mooning her at the end when Bill moons Lenore, he says, "Oh, do we still have a chance?" And she says, "No, but you do," which is so awesome that she is willing to recognize, like, hey, yeah, we're not in a relationship anymore, but you know, hey, if we want to like screw around a little bit, I'm not against it. So yeah, for a girly girl who knows how to have some down-home fun. I'm putting Ann Richards in best of the best. Good for her. Love her so much. Bill! My God, what happened? Bill is a complicated figure, no doubt, because he has some of the best episodes in the whole show, but also some of the worst. I really despise the episode Bad News Bill, where he becomes Bobby's like side coach, and he becomes this like super smug, gross guy who's like tells Hank like, "Oh, you're lucky I'm even letting Bobby like see you," or something. And pardon me. I think that in that way, when Bill gets to like a position of power or authority, or when he starts bodybuilding, he becomes a jerk in a way that maybe was okay for the first few times they did it, but especially in the later seasons, they really leaned into Bill. Like whenever he gets what he wants, just turns into a raging jerk. And in that way, I'm not a big fan of that usage. I recognize that they can't give him a true sense of growth, because if they make Bill not miserable, if they stuck him with Reverend Stroop or Llama for long periods of time, then he would lose his X factor, his super excitable, fun, interesting thing where he's so pathetic and he needs to grow. And we like seeing that growth and for him to get better, but it keeps doing the reset thing where as soon as he's getting better, we pull him back down so he can then get better again. And that is really a problem with the format of a syndicated sitcom TV show, and I do recognize that, but Bill at times becomes very unpleasant in ways that other main characters don't, so I'm actually going to put him at the top of amazing. I think he's a great character, and I obviously wouldn't want to see him taken out, but he is not truly GOAT status for me. He just has some things weighing him down, no pun intended. His best episode, interestingly enough, is definitely when he gets to take his football record back from Ricky Suggs, which, another one of those names that's just in there forever, in the vault. I think that's his crowning achievement, where he gets to just hulk out and push through all those guys and go, "No, I'm not passing the ball." And then, don't look down at your leg. He has these moments of dignity and like honor and all this great stuff. He's so loyal to Hank until he isn't, like with the Arlen Flutter episode where he totally throws Hank under the bus. And it's for that reason that I think the way they handle Bill and his conflicts are not always enjoyable. So I'm putting him just a little bit lower. He almost gets to best of the best, but he's in amazing for me because he's just that. He's amazing. Bill's cousin Gilbert, and I guess, Violetta's in there too. Can we just say, by the way, can we talk about how weird it is that the whole time that Bill was down in Louisiana, in Luzerana, that Violetta knew that Bill was her blood cousin, and she still tried to hit that? What are you doing, girl? Like, do they not have, like, sex toys down in Louisiana? Come on, like, chop off a gator tail or a slowpoke tail or something. They gotta be useful for some lonely gals out there. I'm completely talking out of my butt. I'm so sorry for putting that image out there. Oh my God. See, this is why I'm fumbling all around now. This is why I need my scripts, because my mind just goes into these disgusting, weird places if you just let it. So getting back on track though, Gilbert, Mr. Sassy Pants himself, these muggy November, this muggy November weather gives me the horribles. If Gilbert had just appeared in that one episode, then he would be best of the best, no doubt. Every single thing he says, I knew Golden Richards for a time. He was a lovely man. We knew each other briefly, or whatever. He would be so good, but then he comes back in season 12 during Bill's barbecue thing where he unloads on Bill, like, how dare you, you're ruining the family name, all of your cousins and buckle bunnies and whatever are dead, Aunt, whatever her name is, not Violetta, that name is sticking in my head, Aunt Lily, no, the other two girls were Lily Rose, Aunt Esme, oh God. Stupid encyclopedic brain. Oh God. Aunt Esme is dead, which is why she's not on this list. Although if that was the criteria, then I guess Debbie Grund wouldn't be here, or Buckley. I haven't done Buckley yet. He's on here though. Gilbert, I'm going in meh. I'm gonna aggregate his appearances, because the first time with Dandy Don Meredith is way up here. The second one is like take him out of the show. I hate that episode, so we're gonna land a little bit low. And Joseph needs some company. It's a little weird that Joseph didn't come with them to Louisiana, but I guess we had enough characters already sort of traipsing around the bayou at that time anyway. My lord. So let's see. Oh my gosh. Oh lordy lordy lord. It's Boomhauer. I can't believe it. Boomhauer, you're my least favorite of the main four guys. For reasons that I've talked about in other videos, I think he serves his role as the very quiet fourth member of the group, and I think that's okay. I'm glad that we have a mysterious character like this, because when you've got such giant personalities like Dale and Bill and Hank, you need someone who's not also going to be there buzzing around doing crazy stuff. And Boomhauer is good in that way, as sort of this sort of calming, we can check in on him and see a little bit of his personality. He's more subdued. That's fine. I don't like how they handle him in relation to women. I might make jokes about, I either admire or make jokes about people like Debbie, but I don't know. It's the way Boomhauer goes about his flirtatious, one night stands just never sits right with me. I don't like the episode where he dates that one lawyer lady and then he gets dumped because he just learns no real lesson. Dale says he's gonna make some lucky lady very happy and then very, very sad, which implies that he's going to keep doing this love him and leave him thing. I'm not asking him to settle down. I don't think he should be another married guy. I'm perfectly fine with him being single. I'm perfectly fine with him being on the dating scene. I just don't like, primarily when he sleeps with the soft serve ice cream lady and he wakes up and she's in his bed looking at him affectionately and he just sits up and goes oh, you're still here. It's stuff like that gives guys a bad rep, and I really just have to call out that behavior as deplorable, and I don't get any enjoyment out of it, again, because he doesn't grow. Maybe if he had gotten better, the way that Sokka in Avatar The Last Airbender, he goes from this very misogynistic, women are weak, stay at home with the girls, little kids, or whatever. But then as he meets Suki and he meets Toph, he gets to learn time and time again that women are very strong. Actually, women in this world, in the Avatar world, are all mega prodigies that just whip butt in ways that very few male characters do. And I think if Boomhauer had a similar sort of growth there, I wouldn't want him to take a big gulp from the respect women juice necessarily, but I think having a sip, just a little sippy cup of just taking a little bit of time to recognize that women aren't just bubble butt toys that you can put on your list and make dumb jokes about for money. I think if he had that sort of reflection to him, I would have enjoyed him a little bit more, but because he doesn't, I'm going to leave him in meh. Yeah, and this does mean that I like that I like these other characters more than Boomhauer, and that's just how it lands, man. I don't know what to tell you. That's the way the cookie crumbles. Man, speaking of a guy who will crumble your cookie, Buck Strickland. Oh my. He is gross in a way that Boomhauer is gross, but I feel like Buck Strickland would give you better, aftercare. He would make you a hot toddy. He would let you stay in his big estate for, a couple days. He'd probably, let you go in the hot tub. I don't know. He's a scoundrel for sure. He's gross. He's somebody that cheats on Miss Liz, which I don't think Miss Liz is on this list, and that's okay. I'm not, itching to rank Ms. Liz. Who cares? But Buck is... He's just more enjoyable. He has more things going on with him, like with Strickland Propane and his relationship with Hank, and sometimes he'll interact with Bobby or Peggy. I really like how he interacts with Peggy in Peggy's Pageant Fever, which we very rarely get to see them sort of hang out. I even kind of like how he becomes infatuated with Luann, where he thinks that he is so charming that he can have her marry him, and then she just immediately shuts it down, and it sends him on this big like bender, and he's like, oh, she spurned me. How could she do that? She just used her assets or whatever to get me closer to Jesus. Who does that kind of thing? And that's just, he is so enjoyable in the same sort of way that Cotton is enjoyable, where I wouldn't want to be within like 500 miles of this guy, and yet he is so like fascinating to observe. He's like an animal in a cage or something. I don't know. He's like not like an animal in a cage. He's like a specimen under the microscope. I'm looking at a little germ moving around and getting his silica everywhere. But am I using the word silica right? I don't think anybody's ever used that. I'm sorry. Who else is going to use the word silica in a King of the Hill tier list? I'm moving on. You're just up there with Ann Richards because you look like you two could be related in a weird way. So yeah, the Texas, I don't want to say oil baron figure. He's more, I don't even get the impression that Buck Strickland is from Texas. He strikes me as the kind of person who's like from a nearby state like Arkansas or Indiana who moved to Texas and is now like more boisterously like, oh yeah, I'm a big Texas guy. I'm from the South. I don't want to say Alabama. I'm saying Arkansas. Maybe Ohio, but that's a little too north for me. I don't know. What do you guys think? Where's Buck Strickland from? I almost said Buckley. Ugh, where is Buck? You know, I'm jumping ahead. Buckley, my boy, he's okay. Buckley is a nothing character. He has no brain in his head. But much like Debbie, he becomes far more interesting to talk about after he died. His whole death situation, very interesting that these are two young people who both die in two-parter episodes. And I think, good for them. I'm glad to see such horrible antagonism for the sexy youth teenagers. And I'm sorry, Buckley is that kind of sort of sexy guy in a way that a lot of dumb guys who don't realize that they're sort of like healthy and young and skinny in their 20s are. Like he's really dumb in the old coconut. He has nothing going on upstairs, but I'm willing to bet that him and Luann got it on in some pretty exciting ways, to the point where she was definitely DTF when he was coming back as Buckley's angel, and They probably got it on that trampoline a little bit. Although, then again, she does, when he tries to like kiss her, she goes, no, that part's over. So maybe he's not so young and hot as we think, because I'm sorry, if your former girlfriend is not DTF when you're a literal angel, then you're kind of cooked. I don't know what to tell you. I feel like not many people would pass up a chance to smash an angel. Would you smash an angel? I don't know. We're asking the hard questions here. I think it depends on who we're talking about. If it's Angelwomon, probably. If it's the angelic macho man Randy Savage, maybe not. That's like getting humped on by a big tree. It's too rigid. It's too firm. I'm sorry. Don't get me wrong. People with giant muscles are attractive, but there comes a point where I'm just being like collapsed under a whole bunch of boulders. It gets a little weird. So there you go. You need to have a nice mix. It's like a mattress. You need to have a nice mix of firm and soft. If you're just all firm, then I'm not into it. But if you're completely soft and you're a marshmallow lady, then yeah, I'm willing to listen. So in any case, back to the list here. We've got, what's this guy's name? I know it's the Vandergraphs. Rhett? Something Chaswick Boseman, I don't know. If anybody looks exactly the opposite of Chaswick Boseman, it's a Bosman, whatever. It's this guy, Mr. Vandergraph. Mr. Vandergraph is such a meh character. I think he's funny. I think he puts forward an interesting conflict with Luann, where it's like, oh, we're born again virgins, hallelujah, but hey, we're still young and down to get it on, so let's get married. My God, that's the dress. Remember when he sees Luann in the dress, he's like, that's sweet Jesus, that's the dress. Oh man. So he, like many young people, he tried to do the deflowering before the wedding, and I'm sorry, in a rural Texas community like this, only studs like Lucky get to do that, and then you get a shotgun wedding. So unfortunately for you, Mr. Vandergraph, you did not inseminate Luann quick enough, and therefore you do not get a shotgun wedding. Therefore, you're kicked out of the show, where you will continue to sin your pants for all time. So there you go. That you are in meh because your story of sinning your pants and apparently ejaculating when some masseuse just like touched you. I don't know. You got a hair trigger on that thing, on that canon. So no, it's I can't respect a guy who just busts out the stuff at the drop of a hat. So you're staying there. Okay, so who's left? Oh, frick. We still got so many to go, and we're like an hour in. Okay, let's start moving a little quicker here. Chip Block and Jerry Popper, you are amazing characters. Maybe even best of the best. This is, again, sort of, I'm taking them both at face value here. I'm not going to say the Chip Block that Bobby was using. I think Mr. Popper is such a deeply nuanced character. The way he has this huge sort of backstory in the entertainment industry, and he's now a crazy old man who thinks that his nurse is stealing his cufflinks. There's a lot of depth to this guy. This is not someone that you would have seen in like season 1, 2, 3. This guy is somebody who comes from an experienced writing team who knows how to very quickly and concisely put forward a personality. You know, bravo, Bobby, bravo, that kind of guy. And he is so... he doesn't have like dementia per se, but he has some sort of thing where he has bought into the reality of Chip Block actually being like a personage. He's somebody who he thinks that Chip Block is alive and is a separate entity from himself. In sort of like the what's the Batman villain's name? I know it's Scarface and the puppeteer, whoever that is. He feels like that kind of guy. I really love how Chip Block just scares the absolute dog piss out of Dale. It's so he gets put in. Much like a Batman villain, he gets put in through a wood chipper and his eyeball comes out, and I think that's awesome. I remember in the Batman animated series, I think Scarface gets blasted with a Tommy gun or something, and I am pro dummies being completely obliterated, which is why I'm glad that Buckley died. And Debbie. So many, do any smart characters die in this show? I don't, well, okay, well, you know what? Perfect. Oh my gosh, perfect time to talk about Trip Larson. Trip Larson is a Machiavellian, just super villain. He is like a Lex Luthor or Riddler, or he's some so crazy guy. I don't even know. He feels like too good for this show. I know that's weird to say because obviously we all like King of the Hill or whatever. But Trip Larson, Michael Keaton, Batman himself, just comes in and crushes it. Every line, he has my favorite line in the whole series. The line where when Luann finds the magazine and she is sort of coming to terms with oh my gosh, this guy is truly crazy, and he says, I spent my whole life looking for a woman as beautiful and intelligent and awesome as the woman in that picture, and I couldn't find her. But then what does he say? He says, but then I met you at the Learning Annex. Or no, he doesn't even say met. I saw you at the Learning Annex. There's that click, that instant recognition of, oh my God, there she is. I can't let her get away. And all the gears start turning, and it all you fall into his, like the palm of his hands. You are helpless because he has everything planned out. He has been planning out this encounter for 40 years. He's just so unbelievably good, and I don't understand how people look at Pygmalion and go, that's that dumb, creepy pig one. What are you talking about? The way he manipulates Hank with the snowman bloopers where they catch on fire, and he sends Peggy the headless pig to intimidate her because he can't charm her, and his, like, I've taken the liberty of having your clothes shredded. They turn into, like, really good mulch. He is, you know what? Best of the best. Top of best of the best. Trip Larson might be my favorite character in the whole show because every single line is either like intimidating or charming or unsettling, and his death, yes, is like horrifying, but that's kind of the only way it could end for something that intense. It's great. When I get to that review, I will only say positive things. I am hearing no negative arguments about Pygmalion because they are so irrelevant. I don't care. You can find some other loser to make videos on King of the Hill, like ragging on Pygmalion. You will never hear me say anything bad about it when that review comes up. It's just, he is... If he wasn't the pig, he would be the goat, no question. He has rizzed me up. I am pig maxing. I don't know what to tell you. He's so good. We can be together forever. We can be Larson pork products like we were supposed to be. He's Batman in a pig outfit. What do you people want? I don't know. It's a whole thing. As a matter of fact, the J5. Give me the J5. I put him in here. The J5 he's okay, but he's very memorable. I can't, the picture didn't crop well. It's just his gut. Oh man, how do you feel, Boomhauer and Joseph, being under the J5? I mean, technically the J5 should be down here with Ladybird because it's just a big pig, but I don't know. Every time I see that pig, I just want to eat it with a spoon. And if Trip Larson hadn't died, we would be eating pigs with spoons right now. The technology would have gotten there, and we would be in a utopia right now, and it didn't happen, so... I'm putting the J5 here as an honorable mention. You get an honorary salute from me. Love you so much. And Hank saying, "Oh, just like a baby. Does he remind you of anybody else when he was little?" That's also like a top tier Hank line. I can't believe it. To go from the highest highs to the lowest lows, the Canadians. I don't like the Canadians, not because like they themselves are annoying, but I don't like what they do to Hank, where Hank suddenly becomes like downright xenophobic of Canadians, and I think that's an ugly thing for him to do. Maybe you could get away with it in like season 1, the way that that Bill says the whole "are you Chinese or Japanese" sort of thing. That's fine for them still being more ignorant characters who are very, again, insular from the whole rest of the world, but by season 12 or 13 or whatever season this episode shows up in, Hank and the guys should be a little bit more global or aware of wider things or more accepting of other things, I think, because they've met a whole bunch of different people. When you go to 9 Rivers and you meet everybody from all the other different Asian countries out there, that should give you at least a little bit more sort of respect or awareness that other people and other cultures are out there and doing their own different things. And the Canadians just kind of represent this ugly thing that happens in the community, and I don't like it. I've actually been to Canada, specifically Edmonton. I've been to the West Ed Mall. It was great. I actually thought the horizon was on fire because Edmonton has these huge oil fields, and I was traveling with somebody at the time, and I was like, "Oh my God, what's happening over there?" And they're like, "Oh, that's just all the oil fields," and it looked like a giant bomb had gone off or something. So I gotta give my respect to the people who live in Edmonton, not Alberta. Alberta, you guys are the worst province of Canada. I'm sorry. Like, even Newfoundland is better than you. How do you mess up that bad? Alberta is... I have nothing but contempt for you. You're pathetic. Edmonton's okay. The West Ed Mall is fine. A bunch of kids at the time. I went and visited like in October when it was like snowing out, and all the kids went and trick-or-treated in the mall, which was very interesting. I guess they didn't want to get frostbite and break off their toes and use those as like Jolly Ranchers or something. Cowards. But I got a good vibe from Edmonton. They have like this weird like ball statue thing. Like it's supposed to be like an art exhibit, and it just looks like a whole bunch of like rabbit droppings, like metallic rabbit droppings. And apparently some guy like climbed in there and like starved to death, or maybe they just found him in there. I don't know. Some guy went and lived in there for a time, and they had to like get him out. It was really weird. So there's some funky stuff happening in Edmonton. I know more about Canada and Edmonton than I do about Texas, which is... It's a weird thing. So yeah, for giving poor Canadians a bad rap, rather. They are not just like weirdos. They're not just America homunculi or whatever. They're good people, and I'm disappointed that this episode did not recognize that. So screw that episode. All right, intermission over. My goodness, I needed a little bit of a break there. I had to guzzle some water to get my voice back because I'm really going hard on this thing. This episode is turning into or this video, whatever it is turning into a giant headache. So let's keep on going. Oh, you know what? Speaking of headaches, oh my gosh, I did that completely unintentionally. Oh God. That's one of those really clever things that just happens naturally, and it sounds scripted, but I swear to God, I'm too zooted right now to understand. Am I even using that word right? I don't know. Nancy Hicks Gribble. You're some sort of mutant in this picture. Okay. So where's John Redcorn? I need to do him at the same time. Yes, you take that statement out of context. I need to do Nancy and John Redcorn at the same time. Whoa, my God. So this is an interesting predicament that I have here because they are both antagonistic. They are both villainous. They are both morally reprehensible, and that's okay. I would say they're actually pretty close. I'm considering making a video about which one is the worst person. I did do an opinion poll on this a while ago, and I got some very interesting feedback, but so I'm not going to try to spoil that too much on which one I think is the more like evil person. I'm just going to say which one I get more enjoyment out of, and I think in this case I'm going to have to say that I get way more enjoyment out of John Redcorn, because he has a lot of sort of facets to him. He's got the thing where he's sort of aging into, not elderly, he's becoming middle age basically, and he wants to have an heir, a legacy. He wants to have somebody that he can pass on his traditions to, but because he cannot reveal his parentage to everybody because Dale's gonna frickin' murder him, he has to stay quiet, and it's so amusing to me that he like tries to make this an issue of like, oh, the white man steals our sons, and it's like, you are misunderstanding what happened here. You did not have your son stolen. You impregnated Nancy, and to keep yourself from being murdered by the like righteously furious Dale, you said, not my kid, it must be yours, I don't know, or you let it go. And somehow, I don't know how this happened, you went from somebody who is like cuckolding Dale by impregnating Nancy and forcing Dale to raise a kid that is not his own, to like, oh, now I want to raise my son and I can't because he's being raised by another man. You, John Redcorn, you colonized yourself. How do you do that? How do you get Joseph to think that he is white? He identifies as a white guy, and he has no interest in like talking to you or sharing any sort of relationship with you besides this like, oh, that's my mom's like therapist, whatever. Oh, hi, Mr. Redcorn. He doesn't care about you at all, and it's so funny how that clash. He is trapped. He is trapped by his own machinations. He has like, again, hoisted by his own petard. He has just made this whole trap for himself that is so complicated and so frustrating, and it's just great to see him get that irritated, and there's no way out, and he kind of has to come to terms with there is no way for him to reconcile what's happening here unless he wants to blow up everybody's life. And even if he does that, there's no guarantee that Joseph will then just like, oh, accept him as like, you're my dad. No, he might just say, what do you mean you slept with my mom and you're technically my dad? I hate you. Get out of my life. I want nothing to do with you. So it's just, as a young man, he thought he was all hot stuff by just getting with any old married woman that he wants, and now that he's kind of past that and he sees it as like, oh, just like as a gimme, and now he wants more, he can't get it because he's just he's the armor that protects him also cages him, and I think that is so fascinating. I've said this before, but he's like a Greek tragic figure, and I think it's just great. I love everything about John Redcorn. Again, I don't think he's a good person, and I think that he is just like a jerk and is horrible to Dale, but in terms of a dramatis personae, he's amazing. How could you not love a character with so many horrible things happening to him and going around him, and just he's so he's like the most complicated figure on this list, and I think that's great. It gives us so much to dig into. A lot of the jokes are amazing. He transforms, he evolves from being just like a one-dimensional like sex joke character to being this very like nuanced sort of guy who has all this stuff going on. So I think he evolves more than anybody else on the show, and I have to show him respect for that. So you're getting put in best of the best. I just love everything that he does. It's great. But then there's Nancy, and Nancy is just okay. Like, I understand that she's horrible, and it's tempting to put her down in bad characters, and don't get me wrong, she is morally awful. If this was, are these people good people, then she would be at the bottom of the barrel, but she's just okay. I don't really care all that much for her big spotlight episode where it's, oh, Nancy goes to Dallas and becomes a anchor there, or a radio, TV, not radio. This is a face made for radio right here. She becomes an anchor person, and she gets drunk with power and does the whole like, oh, I can have you killed, which that's, I understand Girly's gonna do what Girly's gonna do, and you know, I am all for girl crimes and girls killing people, but in this case, I can't get behind it because John Redcorn's too busy being behind you, so there's no room back there, and so Nancy's just okay. Alabaster Jones. Oh my, oh me, oh my. Alabaster is a pimp. He's a horrible, awful sex trafficking guy who's got a stable full of hoes, but he's amazing. He's awesome. He is he's a guy who really puts an exclamation point on the Tammy episode, and I really kind of like the relationship he gets with Hank, where they almost come to like I'm watching a lot of the Star Trek Next Generation episodes again, and I recently watched this episode where Commander Riker has to serve aboard a Klingon ship. I think it's called Chains of Command or something. I'll put the name up here on the screen. And yeah, Riker has to do, it's the first Starfleet mission where an officer is serving aboard a Klingon ship, and he has to learn all of the sort of ways of the ship. He has to eat all the disgusting Klingon food, and he comes to this really fascinating, like sort of mutual respect with the Klingons, where he has clearly put in a lot of effort into understanding their customs, and they acknowledge that he's not perfect, but he has tried to sort of live in their culture and do as they want him to do. And I feel like the same thing has happened with Alabaster, where Hank is not knowingly acting as a pimp, but once he recognizes that this can only be solved, this whole conflict can only be solved pimp to pimp, he does step up, and he talks to Alabaster in a way that he respects, and it's aggressive, and it's like, oh, here, I'll give you money that she's made so I like that Alabaster just sort of leaves it at that. Yes, he does try to get the Jasper brunette of Peggy, but who wouldn't? My goodness, that she is going to be the bottom earner, if you say. See, I'm trying to like censor myself here because I don't know if YouTube is going to get on my butt. I gotta do it again. I don't know if YouTube is going to get on my case for swearing because they've put me in restricted mode a whole bunch. So I'm trying not to swear. Believe me, if I had no strings on me, I would break out of this whole thing and just cuss up a swear, but I can't. So, Alabaster, because you somehow, for a pimp, managed to keep your language pretty clean. You've got an awesome car, a real jalopy. I don't know. He's got like a Mr. Burns or a Mr. Toad kind of car that's just ridiculous. I love when his hubcap comes off, his golden hubcap, and he just goes, "Oh damn!" Which is great. He feels like a Black Dynamite or a Dolomite sort of character. He's definitely coming out of a different series for sure. But he's great. Snoop Dogg does a very good job in this performance. It's a very legendary performance. I know Snoop Dogg has been sort of a controversial figure recently, which, I mean, I'm sorry. This is Snoop Dogg has always been a controversial figure. I don't see how, like, just go back to his earliest days. He's singing about the most vile stuff ever. There's this weird sort of like thing that happens with certain celebrities where they sort of get like a new life, kind of like Eminem. Like Eminem is seen as this like, oh, kind of like chill guy. He's just Eminem. But his early stuff and his early sort of career and viewpoints are just like horrible. So I'm indifferent though. This list is completely separate from any sort of like what the voice actor has done or did or whatever. So Snoop Dogg, if this was talking about like celebrity reputations, I'd probably put Snoop Dogg pretty low because he's kind of come out with some weird and like, I don't know, lame viewpoints recently. You can look more into it. I don't really like it. But I can't deny that his performance as Alabaster was really good, and that's a whole other discussion that we need to have at some point about our efforts to separate the art from the artist, or even in this case, it's not, he's just providing a voice. He's already gotten paid for his performance here. I think us enjoying Snoop Dogg's sort of thing that he did here is fine, because you can enjoy it without supporting him. I don't know. That's beyond the scope of this video, but I'm not trying to say if you find somebody morally repugnant. Like if Harvey Weinstein had voiced Trip Larson, he would not be my favorite character. So it does matter to a degree. It's just, I don't know. It's too, I'm getting a headache again talking about this. This is getting ridiculous, beyond the scope of what I need to say. Speaking of someone who needs to get canceled, oh my goodness, it's not Tammy, oh my goodness. It's Rich himself, not Rich Evans, who will never be canceled. You can mark my word, stamp of eternal sort of virtue for Rich Evans. He's awesome, super based in all ways, but Rich, this guy, Mr. Ben Stiller's character, is not based whatsoever. He is a creepy, gross, sexually harassing guy. He's the bottom of the barrel sort of jokester. He makes disgusting sort of like, oh, you said the word meat. That means wiener. Oh my gosh, the big rack. And I think that sort of thing is, I mean, I do it from time to time. I'll make off-color jokes for sure, but when that's the only thing you have, and that's just what you keep doing again and again and again, ass tag, you know, it gets too repetitive and nobody likes it. Even if, like, even me, I'm not that offended by stuff. Buck Strickland is a good example. Buck Strickland probably did like some of the stuff that Rich was saying initially, but you got to get some more variety to that material. It's just, you're not a good character. Take him out of the show. Take him out of here. I don't care that Ben Stiller is there. That's another good example. Ben Stiller, I think, I haven't heard anything bad about Ben Stiller. Ben Stiller is a pretty okay guy. He's kind of lame these days anyway. I don't know what he's doing. He's probably semi-retired by now. His dad was significantly more funny and interesting than him, but I mean, hey, I'm in the same boat. Ooh, getting a little personal there. But Rich is just, he's my least favorite kind of guy. He's like Boomhauer if Boomhauer was like, he's like a Quagmire figure. If you combine Boomhauer and this guy, you would get Quagmire, and I don't like that. I don't like that at all. It's weird. To go off on a little tangent about Quagmire, I actually think that what Family Guy has been doing with him, where they've kind of tried to rebrand him as just like this out-of-touch older guy who doesn't know what like the internet is, and he does like dog walking or power walking with Donna, that's okay. I understand that he's so vile and he's done awful, awful things before that probably people will never, ever forgive his character, and I don't think you should. But there is... I mean, again, just like with this guy, after a certain point, you can only make so many sex jokes, and then you just gotta try something new. So I at least, like, will praise the Family Guy writers for trying to take a very one-dimensional character and doing something different with them. And you can't undo the past, you know, if you just got to one Quagmire joke and that's it, I hate that guy forever, then it doesn't matter what they do with him in the future. But I can at least acknowledge that, there is some greater effort there, and I can respect that at least a little bit. I don't respect a lot of things about modern Family Guy. Actually, weirdly enough, I just heard on the news feed today that they've ordered a separate show, like a spin-off show from Family Guy that's all about Stewie or something, which, why now? What? That's so weird. I don't understand why not like 15 years ago? I don't get it, man. So it's just, I'm so glad that I'm just here in King of the Hill world, where it's pretty, you know, stagnant or uncomplicated. The most we've gotten is just one new season, 10 new episodes, and that's it. Everything else is pretty straightforward. So there's no spin-offs or anything, so good stuff. Oh goodness. Chris Sizemore. Oh, if there was ever a late season character that I did not like. I do like the enthusiasm that his voice actor brings to the role. I think it's a little one note, but really I feel that Chris Sizemore is, he's the wrong kind of character for this show. I think he strikes me as more of like, it's like he came out of like The Office or Community or some Office sitcom that just does not click for King of the Hill, in my opinion. So I'm going to put him in bad character. Maybe meh. Yeah, I'll put him in meh, because he at least makes an effort. He challenges Peggy. He's not in a lot of episodes. He's the real estate guy who... You know what? I'm going to take a little sip of water while I consider this. Anyway, he's a real estate guy that Peggy works for, and that job is not my favorite. I much prefer when she's working at the paper. The guy with the eyeball, or the lack of an eyeball, the guy with the eye patch, I think is a far better character, because he's sort of this, I don't want to say aristocratic, he's this more Shakespearean sort of fellow, in a way where I feel like in this sort of rural Texas town, there would be a few people who try very hard to break out of that sort of more, I don't want to say the word hick, but more southern sort of colloquial personage, in the way that, I'm trying to think of another character that does so. Reverend Stroop is an outsider. David's a pretty, like, he's not what you would expect from someone who is like born and raised in Texas. Maybe he was actually born in Hawaii, I don't know. Trying to see another one. Bug Gribble. But Bug Gribble is much more of the guy who you can tell was definitely raised in the South, but he's not like stereotypical. Or at least not stereotypical in that way. He's maybe a little stereotypical in another way. But Chris Sizemore feels like he didn't. This guy feels like he grew up in Ohio, or like he transferred from. Oh, where did you come from? He feels like You know what? I'm going to say Massachusetts. He feels like someone who came from one of those really small East Coast states. He's got that sort of like semi-tan, but also like he uses a tanning lamp. So it's this New Englander. He feels like a New Englander in Texas, and that kind of that weirds me out a little bit. So I'm going to put him down in bad character cut or meh. Yeah, I'm putting him in meh. Because he's just wrong. He's a wrong fit for this kind of show. I don't like his super cocky attitude that never breaks. He never has like a more humanistic moment. He injects himself into too many things, like in the episode where Peggy is doing the 6 characters in search of a house thing, where she's leading a troupe of actors, and he's just like, I want to be in the show. It's like, okay, you're my boss, so you're in the show, I guess. He's just there. He's Chris Sizemore. Was I saying something else? Largemore? Midmore? He's Midmore. You're Chris Midmore. Ugh, get out of here. Speaking of characters who are not from Texas, Tid Pow! Tid Pooh herself, who's got a great T bandana that is... If you got like the first initial of your name on like a piece of clothing and it's like, that's my signature, that's how you know it's me. It's like, what? Her Brat shirt too is so bad. It's black on, or yellow text on black clothing is so weird. She is another character from a different show. This is a Breaking Bad character. Let's admit to ourselves. She is so mean. She is so vicious. She doesn't care about anybody. Just look at her scowl. She is so awful, and in a way that I don't get enjoyment out of, like with Cotton or Trip Larson or even Buck Strickland. Like these are fun, interesting villains. Tid Pow is too realistic. I think everybody kind of knows a person like this who's just trouble all the way through. You don't know exactly what they're getting up to, but it's some real bad stuff. Not just like, oh, pushing over some cows or something, but like doing something that even if you're just associated with her, you're going to like prison or juvenile hall for a long time. So steer like clear from her. And I think the best thing about her is her vocal performance. I think Lucy Liu does a great job of giving us this girl who is just so bitter and so tired of the world and doing her own thing. She's selling meth to truckers. Like what are we supposed to do with a character like this? Q-bag, you know? It's I don't know what Q-bag is. I don't know if it's like a Quaalude bag. My linguistics fails me. Put my poor word skills in the bag, in my colostomy bag, because I don't know. Like it's ridiculous that Tid Pow is allowed to be in this show. I do like how she counteracts or interacts rather with Bobby, where he is so smitten with her that he can't see like what she's kind of getting him into, and the spell that's being spider webbed around his head that's gonna pull off his whole face. And then she just leaves him to get in trouble. And I guess Connie or somebody like ratted her out because she ends the episode with Con's brother, who's like has a Montana ranch. So why is like Con so weird about Hank and the guys being hillbillies when you've got your brother as a rancher who's very son of the soil, you know? He's right in there in the dirt with all the cow poop and stuff. So maybe it's also sort of like Con resents his brother for living that lifestyle, and that's why he's more harsh on the guys for being hillbillies. That's a whole unexplored aspect. You see, I'm not even talking about Tid Pow anymore. I'm talking about her much more interesting uncle and lineage, whatever. The only other thing I do like is I like her hair, where it's just these really straight down, like dagger-ish, like strands of hair that look very nice. But yeah, she's a meanie, and I'm gonna put her in meh. Yeah. She's not somebody that I like, but I recognize that for the story that she's in, she serves her purpose well enough, and Lucy Liu does elevate it, so she's in meh. Oh my god, oh lordy lord, oh no. David Kalaiki Alai, you are a brick wall. You are such an okay guy. I'm so glad they didn't write you just as a jerk. He's not a bad dude. He's not villainous. He's not a scumbag who knows that he's taking advantage of this like poor school system. He is just a happy-go-lucky dude who wants to play football, and he does not have the words to articulate how he feels about things. When he's confronted with what his mom has been doing, he just goes, "This is so stupid." And in that moment, I recognize, oh my God, this guy has been so profoundly failed by the system that he can't even express what he wants to feel. There are not words. He doesn't have the vocabulary to say things that he wants to, and that makes me so sad for him. He is not somebody who has knowingly slid under the standards of school and just like, oh yeah, whatever I can get away with, whatever. He wants to be a good student. You can tell he is somebody who, like, he pays attention when Hank and Peggy are trying to give him the propane lesson. He is focused in. He is trying his best, and yet there is some sort of learning disability or something there. I really genuinely think he is probably learning disabled. Either that, or he is like, he probably reads at like a 3rd grade level, if that. And it's a tragic sort of story with him, and it doesn't get resolved by the end of the story, because how the heck can you get all of this like 10 years worth of schooling that he did not benefit from in any way, where they just let him go and just whatever he turns in, give him an A because he's a football guy, whatever, it doesn't matter. He's David, he runs fast, I love him. So I think that's really what elevates him. You know what? I'm going to put him, I probably shouldn't, but I'm going to do it anyway. He's amazing. I like talking about David. He's a genuinely good guy. He's been held back a couple times because Luann is like his same age, apparently. Peggy says they're the same age or really close to being the same thing. So they probably did hold him back a couple times trying to get him caught up, and it just didn't work. And there's a sadness about David that I find profoundly interesting and compelling to talk about, and I love the little butterball. He's great. I wish we had seen him a little bit more. Yes, Brendan Fraser does a pretty good job. It's another sort of like Katara thing where I wish they had gotten somebody like a native Hawaiian to voice David, but yeah, whatever. There's nothing we can do about it now. Spilt milk, what have you. So, David's just, he's David. How can you not like this guy? He's so pure. Yeah, and you know what? Best thing of all, he's got a 7 of 9 poster in his room, so he recognizes Peak. He's a Star Trek guy. I'm sure it's probably just because, what's her name? Jerry Ryan, I believe. Yes, Jerry Ryan is stacked. She's a good actor. The 7 story is so nice. I think they did her pretty good. They gave 7 of 9 a lot of good storylines. Yes, the Doctor got every good storyline ever in Voyager. He just gobbled it all up like Bill or something. That's a cheap shot at poor Bill. He didn't even get in Best of the Best. Cut him some slack. Point is, 7 of 9 is a good character. Not the best character. Voyager is not my favorite Star Trek thing. I think that would probably be... Oh, it's such a tie between Next Generation and Deep Space Nine, but that's a story for another day. Anyway, oh god, there's still so many! How am I doing this? Min's dad, General Gum, he sucks. I don't like him. He's a bad character because he just falls into the very tired trope of, oh no, my in-law who doesn't like me is coming to town and they're gonna cause me to be upset and they don't like me, and it's so like tired. I don't care for the whole that whole trope. It reminds me a lot of the like, take my wife please. It's something we've seen so many times before. I don't care. I don't get a lot out of it. Him stealing Khan's song at that karaoke really shouldn't have mattered because his singing is horrible. I understand that everybody sucks at karaoke. I would not be a good karaoke singer. I get it. But I still think Con should have gone up and sung the song. He should have just looked him dead in the eye and done it better. And it's just, I don't know. General Gum is a weird figure because, like, shouldn't he be dead or something? Like, he was part of the fascist regime in Laos. So did he flee to, like, Cambodia or something? How is he not, like, how is his big fat head not on a pike somewhere? I don't understand. How is he allowed to be alive? Is he an active war criminal that we could have turned in? Maybe that's what should have happened, is you turn him in and he gets killed. I'm sure Min would have loved that. So I don't know. General Gum is just he sucks. I almost want to put him and take him out of the show, but he does have a nice scene at the very end of that episode where he talks with Con and basically says, like, you think it's going to be like this, like, oh, I appreciate you, like, you're actually good enough for my daughter or something, but he just says, no, like, I'm so much better than you in every way, but my daughter for some reason likes you, so whatever, I guess we're cool. As long as you admit that I'm better than you in every way, then I'll just leave and go home. And Con says, okay, and that's great. He almost, if he had a little bit more skill to back up what he's trying to do, like he had more oomph to him, I would say he's almost like a Yujiro Hanma sort of figure where you just can never reach that level that he's at. He's so overwhelming. He's the ogre. He's the force that no one can surpass. And I think if they had leaned in a little bit more to that aspect of General Gum, I would like him a lot more. But for now, he's just a bad character. Enrique is... he's okay. I mean, Danny Trejo does a really good job in voicing him. We're very lucky to have Danny Trejo. I'm going to put... yeah, I think Enrique's okay. I don't feel a lot for him. He's a real nothing sort of figure. He's better than Joe Jack. Let me just say that. He is a million times more interesting than Joe Jack, even though a lot of his later Spotlight episodes, like when he's breaking up with his wife and he's kind of like stalking the Hills and he wants to get in their house and he's being really annoying and bombastic and like, oh my god, let's take off our socks and wrestle or something. Let's play Monopoly. That sort of energy is okay. He's like, his kind of thing is that he's a little annoying. The show has him be a little annoying. He has this weird sort of respect for Hank that is not felt both ways. It's he kind of looks up to everybody and nobody looks up to him. Everyone kind of looks down on him a little bit, which makes me sad. I wish they had used him a little bit better. His daughter really sucks because she has no personality at all. Her quinceañera episode is terrible. The gentrification storyline is just... it is so filled with annoying white boys, which is just my whole life every day. Every time I look in the mirror, I go, you are that I almost said an F word. You're that guy from the Enrique episode. You're ruining the fish tacos. There's salmon in the fish tacos, Hank. So I don't know. I get some enjoyment out of Enrique, but not much. He's definitely he's right next to the J5. I'm sorry. That's not very flattering, but that's what it is. Clark Peters, you're a bad character. I'm sorry. You get nothing. You talk kind of funny, and that's it. Are you supposed to be like a bizarro Bobby? Are you supposed to be a bully? Ugh, are you supposed to make me belch when I see you? Because my body is trying to like speak so much about how much I dislike him that it's trying to expel more air than is necessary to say the words that I'm trying to do here. Clark is just he's a weird character. I don't get what his thing is. Am I supposed to be annoyed by him? Is he supposed to be a slow guy? Is he a stupid kid? At least with Dooley, I understand that he's like a cruel guy who just says anything. He reminds me a little bit of Gaara from Naruto, of all things. Dooley does. But Clark Peters, he's some sort of like hobgoblin version of Bobby. He's bigger than Bobby. I don't know. He's like a dime store knockoff or something, like a Chinese knockoff. He's Temu Bobby, basically, and I just can't respect him. I can't put any respect on his name because he does nothing. The most he ever does is in this scene right here when Hank is running the shop class, when he's being the substitute teacher, and he just goes, Mr. Hill, something's happened to Bobby. And then he goes, look, and that's it. That he does nothing else. And it's so aggravating because he's distinct enough to the point where you remember him. There's a lot of characters at Bobby's school, at Tom Landry Middle School, who you just don't know anything about because they have no gimmick, they have no sauce, no riz, nothing. And Clark Peters has something, but then it goes nowhere. He's such a dead end street, and yeah, I almost want to say take him out of the show. Take him out into the back and shoot him in the head. Nobody would notice or care. So yeah, get him out. He basically is out of the show. He doesn't do anything. I can't think of a single thing that he ever does that's made me laugh. So you're out. Reverend Stroop. Oh me, oh my. Reverend Stroop. What a complicated character. You're just like Ann Richards in that you get into this, like tricksy relationship with Bill, except you're unfortunate enough to be in one of the worst Bill romance stories ever because he just gets sick and tired of you, which is so stupid. I hate how Bill handles the relationship with Reverend Stroop. And it's like he finally meets a woman, an attractive woman, who cares about him earnestly. She finds him attractive. She's flirtatious. She's got a very nice job. She's a community leader. There's nothing but positives about Reverend Stroop. She's a Wisconsinite. She can make you lutefisk whenever you want. It's there's like what do you dislike about Reverend Stroop? She's a nice lady. And you know what, that's really all she is though. She is just a person that you would see like out and about, and I think we do see her a couple times when Hank is being a pimp. We do see her driving around, and she is that kind of figure that you just see around town. She's someone you pass by at the grocery store and just go, oh hey, it's Reverend Stroop. That's kind of interesting. But she, I don't know, besides the lutefisk thing, well, actually no, I was going to say the church burning down, but that's the same episode. So, if I'm not mistaken, she's voiced by Mary Tyler Moore in her first appearance, and then I don't know who voices her after that, but it's a pretty close imitation. I don't know, I don't think there's anything to dislike about Reverend Stroop, but she is just a lady, and I'm not going to knock her down because of how Bill treated her. I think that'd be totally, terribly, completely misogynistic to do so, so I'm not going to do that, and that's more of a knock on Bill, if anything, because he doesn't know how to be happy. Mike Judge's tentacles wrapped into his brain and forced him to break up with Reverend Stroop, and that sucks, and you know what? I'm putting you a little there, so Debbie isn't putting her butt near you, Bill. You do not deserve it. You do not deserve the dumpies. That's my summary of Bill. Ugh. And he doesn't deserve Reverend Stroop because he doesn't know how to appreciate when a good thing literally falls into his lap. And yeah, it's deeply upsetting to me. I despise that kind of plot line where it's just like, oh, now that we're like the town is okay with us being together, because Reverend Stroop literally quits being a priest or her job or whatever it is to be with Bill. And he either can't handle the pressure or just thinks it's weird or what have you. And he completely collapses and he tells her like, it's over. And it's like, okay, I don't know. Give it some time. Give it a couple of weeks to try to see if you can work things out. Don't just immediately go, well, the excitement's over. We're broken up. Who cares? And I don't know. I have so much contempt for Bill in that story, and it's all independent of poor Reverend Stroop. Jimmy Witcher. No, Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter. I'm sorry. You're amazing. You're almost best of the best. If Jimmy Carter himself had come and voiced the character, he'd be in best of the best. But he's just good. His frustration. I can't say anything more than that. We got to keep moving. Jimmy Carter's just really good. There you go. And now, Principal Moss. I despise Principal Moss. I hate everything about him. I get no enjoyment from any joke he's ever done. I despise this guy. He's the worst person at Tom Landry Middle School. His gimmick of not caring about anything is very similar to Reverend Lovejoy from The Simpsons, but at least Reverend Lovejoy gets, like, points for Ned Flanders being very annoying, and that's what killed his enthusiasm for being in the church. Principal Principal Moss has no such thing. The only good joke he ever gets is when Hank busts his nose and keeps wanting to say Reverend Stroop. Principal Moss goes, "Oh my God, is that brain? I think I see brain." And there you go. It's the more we get of him, the more I hate him. I don't like when he comes to live at Bill's house. He's a jerk through and through. He's desperate. He doesn't even serve as a good antagonist role. He's not that kind of guy. He's more of a roadblock character than anything. He's a hindrance. He's, "Oh, I can't help you, Hank," and that's about it. It's just I don't know. He stinks. Okay, who's next? Chuck Mangione. Chick Mangione himself. What a legend. I can't believe it. I think he is perhaps one of the strangest, like, guest celebrities that any show has ever had, because even though he shows up a whole bunch of times, he's almost a reoccurring character, he has virtually no interactions with the main cast themselves. He's kind of like a Troy McClure sort of figure, where, he's on TV a lot. He's in a lot of commercials. He's at the Megalomart in the big sort of concert that's going to be given right before the Megalomart explodes. But then also he'll come in and be at, like, the propane survivors of propane explosions focus group. He'll live in the Megalomart itself, which almost feels like tacky. But I think it kind of makes sense for his character. I wish they had kind of said in that episode, like, "Oh, this is the last place that I felt, like, secure or safe before the Megalomart blew up, and now my life has just been like a series of traumatic events," and he's kind of coming back to relive the incident itself. But they don't do that. They just say, "Oh, I was touring a whole bunch, and so I decided, instead of just saying I'm not gonna tour anymore and break contract or what have you, I'm going to live in one of the stores and poop on the floor and and make them clean it up." It's a very strange sort of thing that's going on, but he showed up, and he came back again and again and again, and I think this being on King of the Hill probably really, like, escalated him into the pop culture zeitgeist. I'm sure that he was already a very popular guy. He came into King of the Hill when he was in, like, his 50s, so his career had already been very well established. There's a reason why he's, like, a legend in the show, and Hank and Peggy used to always listen to Feel So Good. By the way, Feel So Good is all over this show. It's in, like, background themes, especially in the first season or two. It's like an instrumental version that's sort of, I don't know, it just sort of lingers over a lot of scenes that you don't even really think about, and it's so interesting. But he's a legend, and he became even more legendary for being on the show, so it was a mutually beneficial thing. And I think him being on the show so much almost feels a little tacky, but that works because Megalomart is the one who's using his, like, C or D list celebrity status to further their own corporate needs, which is kind of like a reflection of how Fox itself will use him to, like, promote the show or what have you. So Chuck Mangione, I'm going to put him in best of the best. I think of all the celebrities out there that is tied to this show, it's difficult to think of a guy who has more of a legacy and more of a recognizable wow factor in being on King of the Hill. So he's such a good sport. He's pretty funny. I really like when I think it's something where, what is it? I think it's when Bobby is when he's eating the big steak, and then when he does it and everyone's cheering, Hank and Peggy kiss, and Chuck goes, he's just in the background for some reason, he goes, "Hey, you two, I'm trying to eat." And that's just, they didn't need to put him in there, and I'm so glad they did. It's nice to see him apparently living in Arlen, even though he shouldn't, but whatever. So Chuck Mangione, good guy, good celebrity, good character, best of the best. What a legend. Okay, Donna. Look, okay, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I have two parts of my brain that are activating when Donna is here. Part of me, my left brain, is saying, okay, Donna is a mildly interesting Strickland Propane character who, is mostly just a nice lady throughout most of it. She gets her MySpace episode where she becomes a really big problem and very unpleasant, and for that reason she should be in meh or even bad character. But unfortunately, I am a rabid, like, slathering dog when it comes to people with Donna's body proportions. She is by far, in my opinion, the hottest character of the show. I'm sorry, I have this instinctive, like, horrible lizard brain weakness for women who have hips wider than their shoulders. It's a real problem, and it's gotten me in trouble before, and it's going to get me in trouble here again today. And I am completely apologetic. I was going to say unapologetic, but I guess I'm saying all this stuff because I feel some degree of shame. It's not like Donna. Like, Donna is almost like, I hate to say this, she's too conventionally attractive in a weird way, where it's sort of like expected, like, oh yeah, it's not a challenge or interesting that it's just like, oh yeah, the stacked blonde, whatever. But there's something about Donna. She's a sleeper hit that just kind of surprises you, and she's definitely very freaky too. Again, in that MySpace episode, I think I mentioned this before, I've done one or two takes now, and it's all kind of meshing together in a giant swirl where I can't remember what I've said before, but she has slept with apparently like Melinda and Buck Strickland and Joe Jack. Yeah, oh yeah, because I was talking about Joe Jack. I did bring it up, and I'm envious of that, and I'm sorry. For that reason, Donna gets put in okay, right next to Reverend Stroop of all people, even though I completely acknowledge that she should be in a lower tier, but she's getting just a slight bump up because I'm completely biased when it comes to her physical appearance. Yeah, that's just what it is. It is what it is. I'm a flawed human being. This is how you're not getting these opinions from an AI, because there is a horribly degenerate brain in here that is looking at this and just dumping hormones and whatnot into my, what is it? It's not the limbic system. Is that even a system? Into my lymph nodes. My lymph nodes are swelling with cancerous intent when I look at Donna, so there you go. Next up, Professor Twilly. Professor Zip Twilly, I think. He's the annoying, pretentious professor that taught Bobby how to do classic clowning. I have met a lot of professors like this, and honestly, if you can get on their good side, these are like super nice guys. I even think he's a nice character in the show. Yes, he's very particular about how he wants Bobby to go about doing his Commedia dell'arte character and forming his persona. Literally, he looks like a Persona 5 character with the big nose, the Tartuffe thing. Bobby in that episode turns into a phantom thief, and it's really interesting. I should rank all the personas or all the demons. That'd be interesting. But he's a good guy. He's just misguided. He completely understands the haha. He understands how to construct jokes. The problem is that he's too stuck in this like 17th century sensibility, where if he took those same lessons and moved them up a couple hundred years and started talking about modern media, everybody would want to be in his class. Not just because TV analytical stuff is an easy course, because it's not. Believe me, especially the way that I used to run my classes, it was not an easy course. You needed to explain yourself, and in thoughtful ways. You can't just watch your favorite movie and say, yeah, I really like it, and this is why. You have to dig into it the way that I'm digging into it right now with all these other characters and acknowledging your biases. And for me, I look at a character like Zip Twilly and I see me. This guy is literally me. He's got like the same hair and everything. So I'm looking in a mirror here and being asked to say how annoying myself is, or are, or whatever your grammatical. I don't know. I'm not on the clock. I'm not officially writing stuff down. So don't yell at me for not getting my my linguistics correctly. Anyway, he's a good guy. I like him a lot. He's misguided. He's entertaining. He's smug, and he's realistic. He's realistic because you're looking at him right now. I'm wearing like the same freaking clothing too. I didn't plan that out at all. If he was wearing glasses, we'd be spitting images. So he's got to go on amazing because I'm an amazing teacher. Gosh darn it. So there you are. Caleb, dusty old bones, full of green dust. I think they had an okay idea here. I think he's got to go in okay. I understand that he's like a horrible little like nasty brat, which should, actually, yeah, I'll put him right next to Tid Pow because of the brat thing. I think if they had restructured their goal here, and instead of making Hank completely powerless throughout most of the episode, I think if they had made this more into a prank war, the way that they do with The Wedding of Bobby Hill, where Bobby and Luann keep going back and forth and trying to one-up each other, and I'll do this, and I'll cut the seed out of your pants, and then I'll mess with your birth control. If they had done that with Caleb, where it's just this like secret thing that's going on in the neighborhood where the parents don't know, and it's just between Bobby, Hank, and this Caleb kid, I think it actually could have been very, very entertaining, and I would have liked it quite a bit, but they just wallow in how powerless Hank is, and it does feel severely unpleasant, but I feel that it's not necessarily Caleb's fault, it's the fault of how they structured the story. I think that having a bratty character like this, who's out of touch and very strange, could have worked. For example, do you remember, I don't recall which episode it is, but there's a situation, a B plot, where Bobby is dealing with a kid who likes to hide in lockers or small spaces and then jump out and jump scare Bobby. That kid is very amusing. I like how that conflict is structured, where nothing truly bad is happening to Bobby, but it's this very startling thing, this annoyance that's just kind of messing with him, and he gets more and more paranoid, like, oh, where is he? And I think if they had sort of like combined that kid with Caleb and mushed it together, I think it could have been very, very good. This tier right here, this meh thing, is almost like a sign of like, I'm actually going to rename it again. I think I've renamed it again. I'm going to say it's lack of potential. Yeah, they don't sort of live up to what they could have been, I think. Maybe I'll go back to meh, but that feels right. All of these characters have things that I like about them, but they didn't rise up higher than they could. Which I guess... no, that's kind of true of this tier. You know what? I'm gonna go back to meh, because they are meh. I'm gonna do okay, and then yeah, that's the subheading for this one. This is the real lack of potential, where they needed to get a little bit more. Yeah, this one really is more meh. So I guess by that logic, then he goes there. So that's okay with me. That's probably the highest you are ever gonna see Caleb. And again, I understand that he's annoying. That's not an accident. They did exactly what they wanted to. Maybe they hit the gas a little too hard on him. Yeah, I think if their goal was to annoy you, they did it, and I can understand doing it a little too well, but that's what just lands him in okay / lack of potential. Oh man, oh my goodness, it's the big man himself, Hankleton R. Hill. Gotta go in best of the best. That's the easiest best of the best I've ever seen. He does kind of lack some sauce, some good stuff in some sriracha sauce near the end of the show. You can kind of tell that Mike Judge is only just kind of coming in and reading the voice lines. He's kind of phoning it in. I actually think the vocal performances for Hank in like the last 2 seasons are so subdued, so like lifeless, and like lack of energy. He always kind of talks like this, and it's like, where's the passion? Where's the blow up? Where's the man from season 1 or 2 who would loudly proclaim, "I'm gonna kick your ass"? Where's that guy? So he loses some of his sparkle, his shine, his star power later on. But how can you not love Hank? Every line is so good. Everybody who's watched this show at least has at one point tried to do a Hank Hill impression, or you can at least like understand and recognize when somebody is doing that. It's such a strong like character trait. You totally understand his mindset. He's born in New York. He's outraged by so many different things. He fights for a lot of stuff. There's this sort of semi-softness about him. He has his soft spots for like Ladybird and his truck, and I think they add a lot of different complicating factors to him to always keep Hank interesting, even in the later seasons where he kind of becomes a little bit more flat. He still has stuff that's at least trying to be cool, like when he's afraid of a bat. That's not my favorite thing, but it's an effort, I guess. They really pulled the curtain back way too much when they had Dusty Hill come in and the TV crew, and they're like, okay, the name of the game is to make Hank mad. And it's like, well, now you just told us basically what the writer's room's whole goal is for using Hank throughout the series later on. So that's a little weird. But Hank deserves to be in best of the best. I'm not going to be a contrarian there. He's got to go way up there. I'll reorganize the list more specifically when we are done with all the characters, of which we still have way too many. So yeah, he goes right there. Tammy Duval. Tammy Duval is an amazing character. Don't at me. She is a wonderful lady. She almost feels like she feels like a G-rated John Waters character with that hair. It's making me think of Hairspray. It's making me think of a lot of different things. Yeah, she's something of a prostitute, but who hasn't at one point or another? She's literate, she reads Congo, she's a nice gal who shows a lot of respect and affection for the Hills. She's somebody who, you know what it is? Here's what I really like about Tammy. What I like about Tammy is that, and this is completely separate from her prostitution stuff, her sex worker, whatnot, when she gets respect and like a warm, like caring hand, she reciprocates that. She buys gifts for people. She shows her appreciation for people being kind to her and believing in her. And I don't think that is necessarily like, oh, well then why doesn't she stop being a prostitute? Obviously she's a prostitute because she wants to make a lot of money, and she's making more money doing that than she would at Strickland Propane. So it's a purely economic thing. If you have gotten to the point where you're okay working as a sex worker, call girl, what have you, then it just becomes a matter of business. I don't look down on people in her line of work. I hope that she is safe about it, and that it's more of a, I'm afraid for people in that profession just because I want them to be, to not get into dangerous situations. I think that having a pimp is probably the worst thing you can do, which is why I'm so glad that a lot of people will do their stuff online now, because you don't have to touch anybody, you don't have to go into shady situations. So I think that if Tammy had sort of gone forward in time like 15 years and been on OnlyFans, I think she'd be perfect. I would greatly prefer her to be on OnlyFans or some website of her own. Peggy, she should guest star on peggysfeet.com. have a toe fight on peggysfeet.com. You'll make a gajillion dollars on there. My goodness. She's the lady with the big boobies who doesn't need any more help. She is completely fine. She is very fine, I'll say that. But again, in a weird way, it's very much like Donna, where my brain recognizes that Tammy Duval is a attractive lady, I guess, but she's so kind of sibling coded where I don't think of her in a sexual way, which is kind of strange considering her profession. It's all just like, oh yeah, she's got big boobs, she's got big hair, she's got a very nice personality, actually. That sounds like a joke or something, but she actually is very kind and soft-spoken, and I don't know, she just strikes me more as like somebody that you pal around with. I don't think I would get into a relationship with Tammy. She's just not any kind of relationship, really. She's just a nice lady. I would like to have her as my student. I think she would be, or like in a book club or something with her. I would love to discuss Congo with her or other things, because she's clearly a reader, so I feel that getting into that sort of cerebral discussion with her would be very, very fun. And for that, I gotta put her in amazing, because this is a girl who knows what she wants. She's what's the word? She is pragmatic enough to understand, like, okay, yeah, just do what you gotta do, I guess. I'll fondle this old guy's balls for a little bit, who apparently drove all the way from, like, Oklahoma City or something. Like, that older guy who propositions her is like an old-time client, and she must do something to bring some customer satisfaction, because he's definitely seeking down some repeat business. So good for her. Good for her for being a professional in all ways. So yeah, Tammy's great. Llama, oh my goodness. Speaking of someone who will fondle you like horribly. Look, okay. This is a question for the ages. Who would do a better job at completely destroying you and your butt, or whatever you want to have destroyed, Tammy or Llama? I think the answer has to go to Llama. She is a consummate professional in all ways, way more than Tammy. And I'm sorry, Con, but Llama just she's got some kind of weird buff that I don't know how to say. Certain old people who've been around for a while just know how to do it, and do it really well, as Bill can probably attest. Ironically, like, I feel like Llama is so much more of a sexual figure than Tammy. I don't know why. There's just something about her and her relationship with Bill that's so, like, handsy and gropey, and like, it's kind of gross because she's so much older than him, and also she's literally Con's mom, and I think that as much as some people are into like MILFs or G-MILFs or what have you, there's something that's just sort of like, it's like, this is like being attracted to SpongeBob's grandma. Like, there's, you know what I mean? You know, she kind of looks like SpongeBob's grandma, and that weirds me out. I think she's an amazing character. I'm going to put her right next to Tammy. The vocal performance her actress does, I don't know the name of that actress, but I think she's been in a fair bit of stuff. She's great. Her relationship with Bill is great. She is somehow able to tolerate Peggy, like, cosplaying as a Southern plantation owner with the whole "you can call me Miss Peggy" thing. She has her own life and her own goals, where she wants to get out of the house and just, you know, not wait on Con and Min hand and foot. She's somebody who wants to do stuff with her life, and I respect that quite a bit. It's very sad that her and Bill's relationship apparently didn't last. Probably she just croaked at some point. We don't know what happened, if they broke up or she died. We just get like a thing. I think it's when Bobby's doing the tarot card reading where Bill's like, "Oh yeah, my relationship with Llama's going great." And then Bobby's like, "Well, no, the cards say something bad's going to happen." And that's the last we ever hear of her. So she kind of got done dirty in a way that a lot of later season characters do. But for what she is and what she did, I really like Llama. Octavio, if you want somebody who's in lack of potential, Octavio is like the poster boy. He's Dale's +1. He's Dale's Gal Friday or what have you. I like that he gives Dale somebody outside of the regular crew to sort of pal around with. They're definitely getting up to something strange. At first, I kind of thought he was also voiced by Danny Trejo, but it's actually Mike Judge who does Octavio's voice. So I guess that means that Octavio's Ecuadorian. Go figure. He's not. He's not the. Well, it's an Ecuadorian doing what I assume is a very heavy Mexican accent. The whole "now we drink" is very, very notable and aggressive and interesting. I think he he doesn't do anything wrong, but he doesn't do anything especially great. The best thing that he ever does is when he's been hired to kill Chip Block, and he's talking to his tape recorder, and he goes, 5 a.m., the boy and the man and the puppet all leave. And then Dale is also watching him. I wish he had gotten his own spotlight story or his own focus story. He's just a guy who's there to kind of fill seats and serve a joke here or there. As a matter of fact, I think this picture is from the Chip Block episode. Yeah, because Dale is at the gun range shooting a bunch of the Chip Block pictures, and he's like, Octavio, I want you to do to this picture, do to the puppet what I did to this picture, except right here, where he actually hits him. So Octavio he probably should go in meh, but there's something about him that I find a little endearing, so I'm going to put him a little higher. Oh, God. This lady. God. This is Officer Jane. I don't know her last name. The Wikipedia page just says Jane. Her name is not actually said in the episode. I think it's just on the ticket that she gives Hank. This lady is the B plot in the Lupe's Revenge episode where Peggy accidentally steals Lupe from Mexico, and this lady harasses Hank so bad to the point where I am very uncomfortable. If you want someone who just makes you feel nasty and violated, and she stalks Hank, she is appropriately voiced by Kathy Bates of Misery fame, and they did this role a little too well, and I get no enjoyment out of her. Unlike other villains like Cotton or Trip Larson or even Buck Strickland, there is something too real about a cop, especially this kind of like aggressive. She's like a femcel. She is a female incel who's like, she probably in her head is thinking like, no one can handle a real woman who can handle like a gun or kill you or whatnot. And she's disgusting. I don't like her even as an antagonist, as a bad guy. She's not. I recoil from her. I shove her away. I reject everything about this woman. And especially how when Hank finally disconnects from her after he basically is forced to let her grope him, the episode plays like sad music and like, bah, fancy pants, and it's like, what kind of emotional manipulation are you trying to do of me? I don't like it. I hate this. I hate her. I hate that whole side plot thingy. It's so unpleasant, so forget that. Ugh. Now, though, to go to the other completely different side of the spectrum, Bug Gribble is a delight. He is a wonderful character. He has so much going on with him. I'm putting him in best of the best. Almost amazing, but he's way up there. I think it was so bold of the show to do something like this, to give such positive LGBT representation. And it's not just like, oh, Dale's dad is gay, and that's the whole episode. He's got a lot more going on with him about like, oh, I didn't know who I was. I was still trying to come to terms with my identity and my sexuality when Dale was getting married to Nancy. I wasn't being honest with myself. So when I was trying to explain this whole thing to a beautiful Filipino caterer, then Dale comes by and he grabs Nancy and kisses her. And so that causes this big estrangement with his son. And I think, the whole thing is such a well-told story. And while yes, he is kind of a stereotypically gay older man, he's got the lisp, he's got the mannerisms of like, oh, I love you girls, and he's just a goat. There is a goat in the picture with him right now that he's putting panties on, which, by the way, has a really good Bill line where he just goes, what the hell is Bug doing to that goat? It's definitely, you can feel a little bit of homophobia there from Bill and Boomhauer, and just a tinge of that, a tinge of uncomfortableness from Hank, but I'm okay with that because it is semi-realistic that someone who is like Hank, Bill, and Boomhauer, who don't interact with gay people all that often, are a little bit more strange about it. Interestingly enough, Dale is not strange about it whatsoever, probably because he has Earl from his gun club who's gay, so he gets to hang around gay people way more often than anybody else. And obviously he thinks that John Redcorn is gay, so Dale, of all people, has actually quite a good relationship with gay people, and it makes sense that he would not be, like, weirded out that his dad... Maybe it's a little strange to understand that your parent, of all people, has changed, or not changed, but, like, revealed their sexuality to you. They're sort of going in a different direction than you previously thought. Maybe that's going to take a period of adjustment, but I really like how they make it into more of a, like, oh, Dale thinks he's an FBI agent or a CIA, a Fed, and that's so good. The whole episode with Bug Gribble it could have been deeply unpleasant and uncomfortable, and they get around pretty much all of that, and I like just everything to do with Bug Gribble, not just because he's good representation, but because he's a really good character, and I have a lot of respect for the show for doing that. Yeah, he's a goated character, so he's awesome. Jinichiro. Jinichiro is... he's an okay character. I mean, he's in the King of the Hill movie, basically. Returning Japanese Part 1 and 2 is the closest thing we ever got to a King of the Hill movie, and I think he's just kind of okay. I don't have that much to say about him. The most interesting thing... I was going to say interestingly, I'm repeating myself. I'm falling back on vocal tics here because I've been recording for like 2 hours. They had to make Jinichiro look like a clone of Hank, which then, causes problems with the whole, isn't Hank supposed to get his looks from Tilly? Tilly and him look exactly the same, so I guess that actually means that Cotton makes his children look like this, but why does then Tilly look... It doesn't matter. Who cares? It's supposed to be, they needed to come up with a shorthand to say, oh, this guy is related to Hank. Look how similar they are. You can tell at a glance, right from the first get-go, and that's more important than any sort of parentage. So I like his growth that he goes through in the episode, where he goes from disliking the Hills and clearly not wanting to be involved with any of this, his biological dad. Big props, by the way, to his adopted dad, the fisherman guy, because he married a single mom in post-World War II Reconstruction Japan. That must have been a very difficult thing to have happen. A difficult situation to go into. That fisherman guy is definitely the dad who stepped up, so props to him. But Jinichiro goes through a semi-basic character arc throughout the story. David Carradine's performance is okay, I guess. That's a bucket of worms I'm not going to get into, but yeah, I don't feel a whole bunch for Jinichiro. He does, you know what, I'll put him at the very, very bottom of amazing. Bottom of amazing, because he does have the whole, like, I'll kick your ass sort of moment, which is very cathartic. So yeah, he'll go bottom of amazing. Kon Supanusenpone. That guy is so good. Oh my god. I do not think that Kon has a single bad episode. He is so reflective of this guy who moves into this very hostile, different sort of community. He's an outsider in a bunch of different ways. He's an outsider even from his own community, because the Nine Rivers place wants nothing to do with him. So being this, like, I would say just, he's not upper middle. I think he's just middle. He's middle class. And he's so funny. He's got so many good lines. I can't speak to how he is in the reboot. I've heard people say they don't like his new voice actor. Again, just like the Jinichiro thing, that could be its own topic. Not going to get into that. I am so indifferent right now because I'm trying to get through this freaking ranking thing without collapsing from heat exhaustion or dehydration. Time to go. Anyway, so Kon's great. Kon's a wonderful person. I drown myself. I drown myself in the ocean. What ocean? I don't know. But Kon is so good. And if you don't put him in best of the best, he's probably, you know what? He's like a top 5 character. He's so good. There you go. MF Thatherton. Bad character. Who even remembers him a lot of the time? He was in like 2 episodes. He shows up very sporadically. The gimmick of everyone just saying Thatherton is so, like, half-assed. I don't get anything out of MF Thatherton. He comes back a little bit near the end of the show. but he sucks. He's not a very he's not planked into Mr. Strickland's Mr. Krabs, you know? He's nothing. I feel nothing for him. Con Jr., Connie herself, is pretty good. I'm going to say she's a lack of potential sort of character because her first few seasons are pretty nice. I like her burgeoning relationship with Bobby. I like when they're in the relationship. I even like how they handle the breakup. She gets a really amazing Aisle 8A episode, which is a top, 3 episode of all time. It's so good. The situation that Hank gets put into is stupendous, but then after the bluegrass episode, she really doesn't have anything going on with her. She doesn't, I don't know, she doesn't grow in any meaningful way. She just becomes another face in the crowd. So if we were just talking about the first 5 seasons of Connie, she'd probably be an amazing, but yeah, she falls off a cliff so hard, and I can't respect it. It's so sad. So yeah, Con, by the way, where is he? Con stays pretty good all the way through. The Manic Con Monday, one of the last episodes, is really a compelling, fascinating view into his character, and of course they name drop the whole, or they reference the anagram thing where Hank and Con have the same letters. It's an anagram. And it's amazing to me that they showed so much restriction in not putting that information forward way sooner. They held it all the way to the very end. So, look, even me talking about Connie has turned into a praise of Con. So, yeah. Hottest take ever? I'm going to say Lucky's a bad character. I like Tom Petty. I put a lot of respect on his name, but Lucky is a Luann Band-Aid. When Brittany Murphy got really big and she started to do all these different roles and she got into Sin City and just her career was taking off. By the way, freaky thing, I am now older than Brittany Murphy ever got. Isn't that horrifying? I'm not even that old. I'm about to turn 33 on March 14th, by the way. That's my birthday. At the time I'm recording this on the 12th. So by the time you see this, I'll have had my birthday. So happy birthday to me. I I'm trying to weave in this sympathetic, say happy birthday to me while I'm dumping on Lucky. But yes, because Brittany Murphy, R.I.P., got so big and so busy, they needed to bring in another character to kind of fill her role as the starry-eyed, happy-go-lucky sort of character who can bumble around, and do different stuff. And he kind of tried to take her role, I think, and for me, it didn't really work. I think I really like Lucky's first. There's something in my teeth. I really like Lucky. Ironically, there's something in my teeth while talking about Lucky, the guy who has the worst teeth in the whole show. What was I just saying? I'm losing the plot here. His first few episodes with his growing relationship with Luann is very sweet. I like that. I don't know if I love that they got married and had a kid. Luann didn't even start showing until the episode where she gives birth to Gracie. There was no gradient there. There was no eventual progression like we get with Luann's hair. She was just not pregnant. Oh my gosh, she's pregnant. Here's the baby. So a lot of this Lucky stuff feels very half or undercooked. I don't really care for it all that much. I almost want to say meh, but that would be me respecting too much of the community because I know a lot of people really love Lucky, but I don't. This is my list, and I think that Lucky is a bad character. He has good lines, but I don't like how he's used. I hate the stumping episode where Luann is going to prom while he's getting his grandpa's stump or something. No, he would have been better as a minor character that shows up, kind of like a Con figure, but they tied him too closely to Luann, and it kind of weighed her down. Ironically, I'm in complete agreement with Peggy in saying that Lucky really pulled her down and didn't do her any favors. So yeah, unfortunately, Lucky, you're way down there. The Janes from the Jane cult. Woo! She's a mean one. She is. Ooh. Oh, these Janes are creepy. They feel like if you've ever seen the horror movie trilogy VHS, they feel like the VHS segment, I think it's in VHS 2, where they go to like a cult compound, and she's just really this brainwashy fig. Like, look at behind her in that picture right there. It's the souls ascending, like the what is it, the Haley Bob Comet cult, where they thought if they died around the time when this comet went by, they would like hitch a ride to heaven. It's that same sort of creepy thing, and she's the perfect sort of figure. That really long braided ponytail thing is so creepy, in that you can tell that there's like this almost like a free spirit in there who grew this hair really long, but it's like bound and tied into almost like a noose sort of knot, and there's a lot of built up tension in there. It's a great character design. She is so like aggressive and mean, but she tries to be nice a couple times, and I think she's an amazing character, even though she is by her very nature almost indistinguishable from the other Janes in the Jane cult. But she really commands a presence when she comes into the show, and her trying to get the girls back on the bus by just saying jams, jellies, jams, jellies is pretty good. That's her ultimate defeat. That's her wail of woe. So yeah, I really like Jane from the Jane cults, but not as much as Missy Mellons. Luann, best of the best. I love Luann so much. I am very sad to hear that they retired her character in the reboot. I really wish that hadn't happened. That's a whole rant where I think that it was not going to be disrespectful to Brittany Murphy's memory if they recasted her. I really wanted this character to keep continuing on. Uncle Iroh's voice actor died, and we still kept Avatar rolling. It's unfortunate. I understand that like real world stuff happens, and I just don't think that recasting a character is inherently disrespectful to that character. And if they were doing it for that reason, then I'm completely in objection. I understand that for these people who worked with Brittany Murphy and really feel the sense of loss in that, because they knew her better than any of us ever will. And so if it was just too painful for them, I do sympathize with that. But just as someone who is consuming media and really likes this character, she is one of my favorite. And much like Tammy Duval, this is another case where none of what I'm saying here is tied to her appearance, even though I didn't pick this picture. This came with the tier list. Even though she is this sort of sexually liberated character, she's got a lot of chocolate on her plate, if you know what I mean. I feel like good for her. I'm glad that Luann is living a full life and isn't so like repressed, or she doesn't choose to live her life in a way where just because she's expected to be chaste or demure, that's fine if you want to be that way, but I think that she actively chooses not to do that, and I just respect somebody who chooses to live how they want to, and I'm glad that she is living her life to her fullest. Again, it has nothing to do with the same sort of thing that I feel for Donna. Luann is completely just like, she feels like my cousin. I don't get that sort of pull from her. I think it's actually kind of because her hair really sucks. She's got horribly ugly hair in her default character model. If she had more of her like alternative haircuts that she has when her hair is regrowing, maybe I'd feel a little bit different, but even then it's really not that. So I'm saying all this because when I tell you that I think Luann is a top tier character, it is purely because of her personality, her mindset, her beliefs, her just everything that she tries to do, her aspirations, the manger babies, the way that she gets into relationships and she seeks out advice, and she just does so many good things. And I really like her just as a person, as a human being. Luann's awesome, just all the way through. I can see why everybody would like her, or at least why most people would like her, and I really like her too. She's great. Mad Dog! Mad Dog is a mad dog. For what he does in his episode where he just shows us like a version of Hank who is completely off his rocker, off his leash, he's amazing. That guy, he really builds his dollhouse furniture, and he loves every second of it, and he had a massive stroke, which is what I feel like I'm gonna have right now after trying to do this incredibly long list. Yeah, Mad Dog is pretty good. He's pretty darn amazing. He's right up there with a lot of these great one-off characters. Yeah. Min. Min is... You know what? Hot take here. I think Min is a little bit in lack of potential. I feel that she doesn't get nearly as much as what Con gets. Con has the whole world in his pocket, and Min is really just kind of doing the same sort of stuff that Con is doing. I think it's nice in sort of like a Jesse James sort of tag team partnership, but I really would have liked to have seen Min do a little bit more stuff on her own. I'm not a big fan of when she gets into skeet shooting and has to work with Dale and the gun club guys. That's taking her a little bit too much out of her element. I would have preferred if she had done a little bit more scheming with Peggy. I mean, they do have that really good school board episode, but that's like a combination of Min, Nancy, and Peggy. There's really no opportunity for her to really shine on her own. So in that way, I feel that Min, I kind of forget she exists sometimes, which is very unfortunate. I think she's great. She's very freaky. She's very sort of like, what does Bobby says when he's doing like the towel manager thing, like, oh, these roses smell way better than jock straps, and Min goes, well, maybe to you, and that's great. She knows what a key party is. You get the vibe that she's like a swinger. I'm pretty sure her and Con are now divorced in the reboot, and I think that's a good thing for her because it gives her some more independence to actually do things on her own, and I would be fascinated to see what Min does when she's finally separated from Con. And I hope that the reboot gives her a little bit of that stuff. I'm really looking forward to watching the reboot. I'm saving it for later, so maybe I'll redo this whole list. Probably not. So, Bouncin' Bobby Hill. Whoo! How do I even express how good Bobby is? He's way up there. If you got a problem with Bobby, I got a problem with you. We're gonna have to throw hands, because Bobby is everything right in this world. He's everything that we love. He's everything that we fear losing. He's just great. He's a little inconsistent, I will say. Sometimes he's tough, sometimes he's soft, sometimes he's a little too like jerky or rude. I particularly don't like the pilot episode where he starts messing with Hank as soon as he realizes that if Hank gets mad at him, the child service guy is gonna like come and take him away. That's not great. So he has some flaws for sure, but that's not a bad thing. I'm okay with that. I never feel the way I do with Bill, where Bill gets so negative a lot of the time, and Bobby is almost always universally positive. He gets a lot of the great lines out there. Pamela Hayden as Bobby's voice actress was a match made in heaven. What a wonderful opportunity for her to really shine, and she did. And just the way that he plays off of pretty much everybody, you can put Bobby in with almost every single character on this list, and he's gonna have something interesting to say or do, or an opinion, and it's always good. So yeah, Bobby is in best of the best, maybe truly best of the best. So you're going right there, and that's all I'm gonna say. Leanne Platter, you and Donna go right next to each other for various reasons, so that's all I'm gonna say. Use your thinking brain to understand why I did that. Whew. Hoyt Platter, I wish you didn't exist. I wish you had stayed on the oil rig. I wish that had actually been true. I hate how they retconned him not actually being on the oil rig, and just making him like someone who's in prison. It makes so many issues. That's actually really weird that both of these parents are next to each other. How on earth these two disasters didn't just tear each other limb from limb within the first year of living together, I will never know. Like, if where is it? There we go. If if Hoyt had been a normal person and Leanne had been the crazy one, that's fine. That would be expected, because then it's like, okay, he's the person who kind of helped keep everything together. She's the wild one. It's just when she gets, drunk that things get out of control. But he's like the most opportunistic, evil, vile, nasty person who's going to sell everybody else down the river in a heartbeat, that it's like, how has he not traded everybody for gold? How has he not ripped out Luann's like fillings or stole it or like pimped out Leanne? Like he is so vile and nasty that he should not have lived as long as he had. This guy should have died when he was like 38, if that. He should have died when he was like 24. I don't see how he's gotten to be this semi-functional adult. He's terrible. Take him out of the show. I hate this episode. Awful, 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 even as an antagonist. Now, Peggy Hill. Peggy Hill is not just one of the best of the best, she is the best of the best. No doubt, she is the pick for #1 character, no question. She is my absolute favorite person in the whole show, maybe in anything fictional. Just every line is wonderful, classic. Take it easy, Parcheesi. I relate to her. She has this smugness, this self-importance that often gets knocked down or checked, but then she'll build herself up. She's got Spa Peggy and Meatball. She's got Boggle. She has everything. And that's why she is also the worst character of the show, and she should be taken out and forgotten about forever, because yeah, I don't know why she's on this list twice. That was just one that came with this. What really stinks about Tier Maker is that you cannot delete a picture from your tier list when you locked it in. So I think this person just accidentally put Peggy twice, and it serves my purposes very well because I get to put her in best and worst. She is the best of the worst, and there. I think everybody can be happy with that. Yeah, Peggy's Peggy. Peggy is Peggy. What do you want me to say? Coach Kleehammer, super annoying character. I hate your voice. You don't do anything interesting. You are so boring. You just, I really, really hate the Powder Puff Boys where Bobby and the guys do the thing where they're the cheerleaders and all the makeup. That episode stinks. I've never gotten a real big laugh out of him. Coach Kleehammer, what a dumb name too. He just stinks. Hate him. Willie Nelson. Willie Nelson is he's amazing. I have so much respect for people who come on and do their own vocal performances. I may not love the episode that he's in, but his dream sequence with Hank is really good. He gives Bobby some good advice. Him doing the guitar duo with Hank is very fun. I don't think there's anything that I can say about Willie Nelson that is a true negative that has to do with him and his character. He's maybe a little flat at times. He's not as funny as some of the other, like Jimmy Carter is significantly more interesting in how the story chooses to use him. But just as this hero for Hank, that's sort of he shouldn't be a hero for Hank, but he is anyway. That's compelling. I think it's good. Yeah, he's good. He's still alive. He's still, I think, touring even in the Big 26. So, yeah, Willie Nelson is a legend for good reasons. So he's amazing. Topsy is a meh character. He has nothing going on with him. Just he's an old guy who he's old Boomhauer. That's all he is. He is Cotton's Boomhauer, and that picture that they chose for him is insane, and that's kind of his most memorable thing. Well, okay, I guess when they're all getting chased by the Vietnam veterans, and that counselor kind of gets him to open up, and he's like, oh, I'm so tired. That's the beginning of an interesting character, but Topsy is Topsy. I really don't like the episode where he dies, and Cotton gets his inheritance, and he gets to go down to Mexico, and they do the whole timeshare thing. That's a very frustrating episode, because they kind of have to submit to the timeshare scam in the end, so, whatever. Don't like it very much. Jimmy Carter, oh man. And yes, by the way, I'm making a joke at me saying Jimmy Witchard earlier. Jimmy Witchard, hate on me if you want. He's an amazing character. Like, he is mean, he is villainous, he is horrible to Bobby, but then in the other times, like after the racetrack episode, he becomes sort of like, he gets a soft reboot where he is more like cluelessly helpful. I like that he falls for the Vizosa, what is it, the doctor scam, the doctorate thing where Peggy thinks that she's earned a PhD. It's very sad that all the people in that room also felt stupid, and so they went online to try to find a test where they could earn a PhD, and so Dr. Jimmy here did the same thing. He's probably been made fun of his whole life, and so just in this one desperate bid to finally get some recognition, he went online and tried to do this online course to become a PhD, and he fell for it, the poor guy, and I have a lot of sympathy for Jimmy. I think he's very funny. I'm not going to try to do his voice. That is offensive. I'm not going to try to delve into that realm. But he's very memorable. I like him a fair bit. He could have been way worse. I think if he had been a one-off character, he'd probably be in like meh or lack of potential. But he knows where the dogs race, and game's got to recognize game. So yeah, Jimmy's pretty good. When he's the masher and he tips over that porta potty, that's a very good use of him. So yeah, I like him a fair bit, surprisingly. Oh no, Mrs. Carmody, what's her name? Oh no, I'm forgetting her name. Oh no, why have I forgotten her name? Did you pay Miss? Oh no, come on. Miss Carmody is the name of the lady from The Mist, who's basically the same character as this. She feels like a, Junie Harper, that's it. The way I remembered it is Hank saying, Junie Harper says, Junie Harper says. I don't remember Junie Harper's name, or her face being on her name being above Arlen First Methodist. Junie Harper is an amazing villain. She is deeply, deeply horrible and unpleasant and nasty but in a way that feels very realistic to the type of character she is, much like the Janes, much like Alabaster. She just hits that note so good, and I can understand why people would be repulsed by her, in the way that I am repulsed by this lady, because technically this woman does the same thing as Junie Harper, but I think I'm more engaged by the topic of religious extremists that are trying to push their beliefs on people and try to manipulate rules of society through their beliefs. I think that's a extremely important sort of thing to discuss and call out. Star Trek does that sort of thing a bunch. This lady is Kai Wynn, basically. And I love Kai Wynn from Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and this one's a little more nasty, I would say, in terms of I don't know. She kind of gets a win. She gets Bobby to sign the Hallelujah House pledge, where his soul is now going to Junie Harper's version of heaven, I suppose. But she's just great. I like this kind of clueless trooper who's with her, the police guy who's just like, son, did you pay a visit to Mrs. Harper's house today? Clearly a very helpful sort of guy who doesn't want to get a kid in trouble, but he's got this lady kind of breathing down his neck to hold Bobby accountable. I like the way that she interacts with Principal Moss. I actually think that's one of the very rare Principal Moss interactions that is fun, where he's like, Mrs. Harper has a point, and lawyers. So in that way, I like Principal Moss being put upon like that, but I just don't like how again, to dump on Principal Moss a little bit more, he does the thing where he has all the low testing kids go into like a special needs class, and that's just nasty in a bad way. But Junie Harper is nasty in a good way. I don't love that she runs over her cat, but what are you gonna do? Dooley is a bad character. I do not like Dooley. His gimmick of just saying like hurtful things is very tired. He never does anything different. He doesn't get anything new throughout the whole course of the show. And he shows up, he appears like a bunch of times. He is always kind of around, looming in the series. And The most interesting, I say this for a lot of characters, the most notable thing that he ever did was pull Peggy's pants down, and even then he doesn't have much of a reaction to it. He just goes like, huh. And I don't know. He should have stayed in like Beavis and Butthead. Not that he originated in there, but he feels like a very Beavis and Butthead character. And I no respect on his name. Get out of here. I almost want to put you and take him out of the show, but he does have a couple little funny lines that I guess are okay. Ted Wassanasong, he's meh. I think how do I feel about Ted Wassanasong? I don't like him, but he serves the purpose, again, as I try to say it time and time again with a bunch of these characters. I understand what they're doing with him. I understand that he's like a foil for Con. He's like Con if he sold out. He's Con if he did nothing but try to climb the corporate ladder, but he gets very repetitive. It's always just nine rivers, build the McMansion. He's a rich jerk. Okay, I guess. He's very one note, and that note gets played again and again and again, and I just find it very tiresome. Lenore, she kind of lacks potential. I almost wish she had come back one more time. You know what? I'm gonna put her right next to this little tri-force of characters. Caleb, get out of here. You don't need to be there. Connie, get out of there. You don't need to be there. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna do one of these. Yeah, there we go. Caleb, get out of here. How many times do I have to tell you to get out of here? There we go. So, these are kind of how did this turn into like the freaky characters list right here? At least up to Min. We got Dee Dee, Nancy, Reverend Stroop, Donna, Leanne, and Lenore. I would have been okay if Lenore had never physically appeared and she had just been like a Maris character from Frasier, where we hear all these stories about her, we get the impression of what she was like in Bill's life, and I think that her appearing as this like temptress to pull Bill away from Ann Richards is okay. I'm not against that. And I'm glad that Bill got a little bit of closure, but it kind of still felt like there was a bit of dangling potential there that needed to be addressed. I think if she had come back one more time, or if she had like tried to date Boomhauer, that might have been very interesting. If she had just sort of like maybe Boomhauer is going on a blind date and it turns out to be Lenore and they actually end up clicking together, and that causes a lot of like weird feelings for Bill, and Boomhauer doesn't know how to feel about it. Like maybe that would have been a more interesting story than the like he falls in love with that lawyer lady and then gets dumped. Having Boomhauer fall genuinely in love with Lenore, whoo, that's the drama. I think that would have been really cool. I don't know how you would have written that. I don't know what the end goal of that story would have been, but that would have been something else. And yeah, so just from that little hypothetical scenario, I think there was something about Lenore that could have been explored a little bit more. And then the final two pictures are, for some reason, Bill eating a hot dog. That's kind of an amazing episode. I know a lot of people probably don't like it. I'm just gonna put it, I don't know, put it there just to be confusing. You know what? There you go. It's the perfect dichotomy there between Bill at his worst and Bill at his best. Bill at his best is being a big, gross guy who has this moment of dignity where he realizes that I'm being a freak show for people who don't respect me, and he puts down the hot dog and he says, I've had enough, I'm full, and he walks away, and he has this like really awesome thing where it's just like, I thought I had a talent that would make me respected and cool, but it turns out I'm just being denigrated and looked down upon. You know, what a freak. And I'm very glad that he gets that moment of clarity, that introspection to stand up for himself. So yeah, Bill, though, when he's like a muscle-bound jerk or hates his friends or whatnot, then he goes down to amazing. So there you go. And then finally, I don't know why there's a picture of Hank and Dale just standing next to each other. I'm going to assume this is like their ship. If we ship them together, that's a lack of potential. It's a lack of potential ship because I never explored it. It would be very toxic to no end. I'm sure Peggy would be very upset and come after them like a bounty hunter. But yeah, that's a lack of potential. So, oh my god, oh what a thing I've done here. I did not anticipate this going on so long. So let's very quickly rearrange things to try to get this looking okay. I am now going to try to get this official tier list going. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, that looks pretty good. You go a little higher, a little higher. Actually, no, you could say, oh, Hank, this is going to be a lot of grumbling from me. So why don't I start telling a little story? You know what? Here, while I'm organizing all this stuff, I'm gonna tell you guys some other tier list ideas that I have kind of knocking around in my head. If this has been a good experience for you, let me know if you want me to do another video like this, and if I say a tier list that you would like me to do while I'm organizing this, let me know in the comments. So, the tricky thing about finding a good tier list is you want to find characters that are tier lists that have enough characters like this where it's a healthy mix of major and minor and side and one-off characters, but not like literally every single person that has ever appeared, like even for a second on the show as a frame. There's a Steven Universe tier list that does that sort of thing where like you just see like the back of a character's head and it's like, what do you want me to do with this? That's insane. I don't know. So so I could do Steven Universe tier list. That sounds fun. I could do a Pokemon, like do it by generations. Ooh, Roger Sack. I would probably just do up to like Gen 5, I would say, because I'm not as familiar. I stopped playing Pokemon around like White and Black, which was when I was in high school, which that's a horrible declaration of how old I am. Let's see. Oh, you gotta go way higher. Stupid Debbie Grund, you're going at the bottom. You're going at the bottom. The ha-ha. Oh, goodness. Let's see. Roger Sack, go a little bit higher than that. Yes. Ooh, you gotta fall down a little bit. You're going like right there. Yeah, this is starting to come together in a way that I really like. Yeah. I'm mixing it up here. So we could do other shows though. We could do like BoJack Horseman. We could do Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley is kind of tough. I've played that game a lot, but I've never gotten to the end game of Stardew Valley. There we go. Yeah. This is looking good. I hate to put Connie amongst all these people. Yeah, put her at the top of that because Connie is very good. Genuinely, we'll put the J5 as the barrier. I like that. I like that a lot. Okay. The meh tier. Yeah, a little bit like that. So Stardew Valley or the Pikmin enemies, or I feel like if I was doing like a video game like Pikmin, I'd probably just record all the games and then talk about the enemies individually because it has a bestiary, and that's very interesting to have that sort of thing going on. Put you at the top of that. You go there. You're a dog. I wonder how mad people are going to be about this list. I could do the Berserk characters. Berserk characters are pretty fun. Well, varying degrees of fun. You get a little higher. I think this is. Yeah. No, wait. Yeah. There you go. I think this is. Do I really like Trip Larson a little bit more than Hank? I think I do. That's crazy, but I'm gonna go with it. I like it. Yeah, that's aggressive. So, we've got, in descending order, Peggy, Luann, Bobby, Dale, Trip Larson, Hank, Con, Mr. Strickland, Cotton, Bug Gribble, John Redcorn, Chuck Mangione, Ann Richards, Bill, William, Professor Zip Twilly. God, the ambulance is coming for me because they know that I'm sick and tired of all this. I'm sorry, I'm wrapping it up. Oh, God. David Kalaiki Chip Block, and the like weird double team there of Chip Block and Jerry Popper, Junie Harper, Alabaster, Jimmy Carter, not Jimmy Witchard, Tammy Duvall, Llama, Roger Sack, Jane. I had to think about it for a second. Twig Boy, Anthony, by the way, Jinichiro, Mad Dog. I'm finishing up. Stop yelling at me. No. I live kind of near like a place, like a fire station, so they always come. I'm very surprised that none of them have gone by before this. Willie Nelson, Jimmy Witchard, Debbie Grund, Connie, J5, not Donna. Stop going there. Dee Dee, Nancy Hicks, Gribble, almost said Principal Moss. There was some sort of weird misfire of my brain between Principal Moss and Reverend Stroop, Donna, Leanne, Lenore, Min, Octavio, Enrique. I kept wanting to say something else. Buckley, Caleb, the Hank and Dale Ship, Joseph, Boomhauer, Chris Sizemore. I'm so cooked in the head right now. Gilbert, the Vandergraphs, Tid Pow, Topsy, Ted Wassanasong, Lucky, Dooley, Jim Bob, Jimbo, Joe Jack, Ladybird, General Gum, very bottom of bad character ghost, MF Thatherton, Peggy Hill, Clark Peters, Coach Clee Hammer, the Canadians, Emily, Rich Evans, Principal Moss, Jane, Officer Jane, whatever, Tilly, and Hoyt at the bottom. There's my list. Boom! My list is complete. So, yeah, if you want me to do another tier list like this, if you had fun, let me know. I'll put the Patreon thanks after this. Yes, thank you for listening all the way to the end, and that's me. Thanks. This whole list has been reviewed to death, and I'll see you next time. So, until then, ta-ta for now, y'all. Bye! This ranking video is dedicated to Hazel and Andrew M., my $20 Patreons, who I really wanted to reward with what I believe the Europeans call a metric ass load of content. This type of video wouldn't be possible without their support and the backing of folks like Undermine Crimp, Dominic O, Obsidian Moonfox, Marsha B, Valerie Vomit, and Mr. Seagull16, all of whom help me out more than they know. And of course, another big thank you has to go out to my $5 Patreons and YouTube channel members who got access to this video a week early. Thanks for watching, and depending on how this attempt goes over with folks, I'll see you in the next ranking video that I may or may not do. Woo! Oh, and if you're hella mad that somebody in King of the Hill didn't make it onto this list, then I say make me a new one and I'll do an ultimate version of this video again in like 5 years. Okay, thanks, bye!